Harper Audio presents Real Magic, written and recorded by Dr. Wayne Dyer. According to the illustrious magician Harry Houdini, magic is achieved through illusion. Late in his career, though, Houdini alluded to something that he experienced which he called real magic. He apparently had acquired the ability to produce results that were in fact unexplainable. Real magic is the title of this tape because I became attracted to the paradox inherent in those two words. You, like most people, are probably convinced that if it is real, it cannot be magic, and magic, it cannot be real. However, I believe we experience real magic when we transcend the paradox. In the past several years, my life has undergone a magnificent transformation. I find myself on a path leading to levels of awareness and results that I can only describe as miraculous. This unexpected turn that my own life has taken has occurred almost without my consent. I had no grand plan. What I did have was a willingness, an openness to seeing things another way. Now that I've been a witness to miracles in my personal life, I feel compelled to share this new magical awareness. Perhaps you have been drawn to this tape by the same natural flow of life that has motivated me to talk about real magic. As I look back at the entire tapestry of my life, I can see that every aspect of my life was necessary and perfect. Each step led eventually to a higher place, even though that step often felt like an obstacle or a painful experience. Begin right now to reconsider your entire life experience as a beautiful journey toward greater awareness. A simple way to do this is to envision your life as a journey with 3 ascending paths. On the first path of your journey, you learn through a process I call enlightenment through suffering. At this stage, you ask, why me, when something occurs that is painful or difficult? After a while, you see, with the benefit of hindsight and suffering, that it allowed you to move on to another life experience of great value. You realize that you had to experience the pain in order to transcend it. Some people continue this cycle their entire lifetime. They never seem to get the message that unless you learn from your mistakes, you are doomed to repeat them. For persons in this category, real magic remains unavailable. If you recognize the first path as a pattern in your own life, then you probably have moved up past suffering as your means to learning to enlightenment through outcome. At this level, you develop a knowing that says, there are no accidents. Everything I am experiencing is necessary for me to move ahead to the next step. This is a shift of paramount significance. The shift in your mind allows you to look at the outcome of an event or experience and what you can learn from it. Instead of a poor me approach, you shift to a learning approach. You ask yourself, how can I create the outcome I want with what I'm presently experiencing? Many people spend their entire lifetimes on this second path. They see obstacles as opportunities. Living at outcome is far superior to living at suffering. What is missing in their lives, however, is the possibility of experiencing real magic and the ability to make miracles happen. For this, one needs to go to the third path on this metaphorical journey. I call the third path purpose. Learning that you have a heroic mission and getting in step with that mission is the path I'm encouraging you to take as you begin to introduce real magic into your life. Everything in the universe has a purpose. The invisible intelligence that flows through everything in a purposeful fashion is also flowing through you. Here's one way to begin the process of getting to purpose. First, think about the concept of eternity. No beginning, no end, just like the concept of God or nature or the universe. Try thinking of your life as a parenthesis in eternity. The parenthesis opens the moment of your conception and closes at the instant of your death. The space within this parenthesis is your life, surrounded by something called eternity. There is something that is very much a part of us that is invisible. Call it mind, thoughts, consciousness, soul, or even Louise if you like. The invisible self, the part that is not your physical sensory self, is the part that can contemplate eternity. If you even mildly accept the notion of eternity, then it is real for you. Remind yourself that everything exists for some reason as a part of the perfect intelligence that is the universe. Next, right here and now, go back to being a child again in your mind. You will see that the childhood experiences, whatever they were, helped that little person you were to become the adult you are today. I'm not asking you to judge, like or dislike, approve or disapprove. Simply see that each experience led to the next and offered you something to grow on or not to grow on. As you travel backwards in your mind, you can go all the way back to your infancy, right back to your very beginning. Mentally, contemplate the speck of time immediately preceding your conception when you were still part of eternity. There had to be an instant when, for whatever reason, You came from what we call nothingness to somethingness. The question I pose to you is, why? I suggest that your presence in the world of form has a grand mission and that you can discover and begin thinking, feeling, and behaving in ways consistent with that mission. For me, Wayne Dyer, in the 1990s, I have gone back in my meditations and discovered why I showed up in form back in 1940. It feels very clear to me. I accept that I was born to accomplish certain things, and that each and every experience of my life since conception has led me to this purpose. My purpose is to give, to serve, to promote peace and prosperity, and to become totally, unconditionally loving to all people. Getting to purpose in life, by going within and discovering that purpose is about loving unconditionally and serving, alters one's worldview dramatically. Miracle making is then just around the corner. Suffering decreases measurably because the emphasis ceases to be, why me? When you go beyond outcome in life, you find yourself unconcerned about what's in it for you. You go beyond success, achievement, and performance as indications of your life's mission. Your purpose takes hold and you gain a sense of joy and inner harmony, knowing that you are divinely fulfilling your reason for being here. Once you begin the journey toward a life on purpose, you enter the realm of real magic. When you are on purpose, you are truly flowing with life, experiencing a kind of harmony that comes from not having to strive for something else. You sense that you are being watched over, and your actions come from this inner beatitude of rightness or centeredness. Live your life entirely on purpose and renounce any and all credit that may come your way from your actions. Be consistently aware of the need to serve God and to serve others in any and all of your actions. This is the way of the miracle worker. You may be thinking that this is a nice philosophy, but one that is too simplistic in the dog-eat-dog competitive 20th century world. I acknowledge and respect your reservations. In fact, I lived with similar skepticism for the larger portion of my life. I can only say that miracles and real magic began to show up in my life when I got myself to purpose. Only when I stopped being concerned about what was coming to me was I able to be in a state of grace. Get yourself aligned with your purpose. Discover the joy and peace of giving, not getting, of contributing, not acquiring. Why? Because you can't really get anything. You show up here with nothing, you leave here with nothing. All you truly can do with this life in form is to give it away. Purpose is always about giving. When you experience giving, serving, loving, and promoting harmony, you will feel the difference within yourself. As you prepare for this exploration of real magic, you may be asking, how will I do it? What if I need help? I want to help you find your answers. The ancient Zen proverb says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Let's examine the 4 key words in this Zen proverb. Student. Be a student. Stay open and willing to learn from everyone and anyone. Every single person you encounter in your lifetime has something to teach you. The ability to create real magic involves, first of all, being a student of life. Ready. This translates to being a willing student. As a student who is ready, you are eager for what it is that everyone and everything has to offer you. Teacher. The teacher is everywhere. The assistance you need will be provided by the universe as soon as you convert your readiness to willingness. Once you are willing, you will find teachers in every niche of your life. When you, the student, are ready and willing, the teacher will show up. You simply have to look around, open your new eyes, and silently ask yourself, who is my teacher? Appear. The teacher is making an appearance in everything and everyone you encounter. Today, as you are getting your life on purpose and gaining the ability to make miracles show up in your life, you will recognize the teacher. Once you feel yourself open enough to experience your own purpose for being here, and you have opened yourself up to receiving divine assistance by being a willing student, you will be ready to believe in your own capacity for becoming your very own miracle worker. When I talk about the world of real magic and miracles, I'm not referring to turning rocks into gold or raising the dead or commanding the seas to part. I'm discussing whatever you have considered beyond your ability to create for yourself because of limitations you believe you have. I want you to cultivate the foundation for creating real magic in any area that you would like. You must begin by examining your life focus and beliefs before attempting to implement any real magic strategies. I have identified 7 beliefs that can help you tap the power of real magic. Number 1, there's an invisible but knowable life force within you. Try cultivating an awareness of the invisible life force that suffuses all form in the universe, including your own physical body. This is the same universal intelligence that directs a rose to be a rose, the planets to align and move through space, and you to be you. It is in fact what allows you to perceive and experience your physical body and this physical world in which you find yourself temporarily housed. Number 2, your thoughts are something that you control, and they originate with you. Thought is our way of processing and recording our human experience. Your thoughts create your experience of your health, wealth, and every detail of your world. As a step toward the awakened life of real magic, you must consider how your thoughts have contributed to a non-miraculous, limiting approach to life. Then you will know that you can also produce the opposite. Number 3, there are no limits. All of the things that you have become convinced are limits are products of the way in which you have learned to think. You probably were taught that logic and scientific verification dictate what is possible and what is not. But people who believe only what they can see or prove scientifically are limited by the current level of sophistication of our measuring devices. Be a person who accepts no limits in your mind. None. Number 4, your life has a purpose. The entire universe is an intelligent system. The invisible part of you, your thoughts and feelings, are also a part of the intelligent system that is you. What I'm asking of you here is to simply know you have a purpose, and then you'll be on your way to being able to create a miracle of your life in any and all areas of your choosing. Number 5, you overcome weaknesses by leaving them behind. You cannot outthink your weaknesses and limitations. What you can do is leave that stage of your life behind you and walk through the gate into a new way of being. You leave behind the belief that you cannot change, and you will leave behind the physical activity that has supported that belief. Picture it behind you, look back at it, and know that you no longer live that way. Know this to be a truth, and you'll soon see yourself creating real magic in your life. Number 6, examine what you believe to be impossible, and then change that belief. Take an inventory of what it is that you believe cannot happen in your life. Vow at the very minimum to rid yourself of these beliefs. If anyone ever on the planet has overcome a diagnosis of terminal, then know that such a capacity exists within all of us. This universal law that created miracles has not been repealed and never will be. Go to work on that thought right now, in this moment, which is the only physical reality you have. Number 7, go beyond logic. Try to let in the idea that there is another dimension that is very much a part of you, which has nothing to do with logic or scientific validation. You have never seen, touched, smelled, or physically felt a thought or a dream or a feeling, yet you know they exist. And so it is with a portion of your humanity that I call your soul. There are some who will never believe it unless they see it, and others who will see it because they believe it. Few of us have had any training or upbringing in how to tap into the power of our minds. In order to enter the world of real magic, you will need to learn how to go way beyond your rational mind and enter the dimension of spirituality. In order to participate in the high drama of miracle making and real magic, you must believe in your spiritual self, which has absolutely nothing to do with your religious affiliation. Once you have the experience of this invisible dimension and know this higher place that you can go to within your mind, you will have shifted from being an exclusively physical person, a human being having a spiritual experience, to a spiritual being having a human experience. You have the capacity to create miracles and live a life of real magic by using your invisible self to influence your physical reality. When you truly become a spiritual being first and a physical being second, and know how to live and breathe in this new alignment, you will become your own miracle worker. When you examine the lives of the most influential people who've ever walked among us, you discover one thread that winds through all of them. They have all been aligned firstly with their spiritual nature and only secondarily with their physical selves. Without exception, all of our greatest teachers have been spiritual beings. They didn't limit themselves to the 5 senses in any way. All of the great teachers and doctrines, including Christianity and Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, Sufism, and Confucianism, have left us with a similar message. Go within. Discover your invisible higher self. Know God as the love that is within you. Becoming a spiritual being is synonymous with being a miracle worker and knowing the bliss of real magic. The differences between people who are non-spiritual or physical-only beings and those that I call spiritual beings are dramatic. I use the terms spiritual and non-spiritual in the sense that a spiritual being has a conscious awareness both of the physical and the invisible dimension, while the non-spiritual being is only aware of the physical domain. Here are 12 beliefs and practices for you to cultivate as you develop your abilities to manifest miracles in your life. Number 1. A spiritual being knows that there are other senses beyond the 5 physical senses. The non-spiritual being lives exclusively within the 5 senses, believing that if you cannot see, touch, smell, hear, or taste it, then it simply doesn't exist. As you work toward becoming a spiritual being as well as a physical being, you begin to live more and more consciously within the invisible realm. Hence, a whole new world opens up. Number 2. The non-spiritual being believes we are alone in the universe. The spiritual being knows he or she is never alone. A spiritual being is comfortable with the idea of having teachers, observers, and divine guidance available at any time. For the non-spiritual being, this is all hogwash. This is a physical-only universe to the non-spiritual being, and the goal is to manipulate and control the physical world in any way that we can. Spiritual beings know that they are not alone, and that they can use their own divine guidance to become miracle makers in their own lives. Number 3. The non-spiritual being is focused on external power. The spiritual being is focused on personal empowerment. External power is all located in the dominance of and control over the physical world. This is the power of war and military might, the power of laws and organization, the power of business and stock market games. By contrast, the spiritual being is focused on empowering himself and others to higher and higher levels of consciousness and achievement. It is true empowerment to know that one can live in the world with others who have different points of view and have no need to control or vanquish them as victims. Once you no longer need to dominate others, to acquire more stuff, or to control the environment around you, you will have shifted your focus from external power to personal empowerment. Number 4. The non-spiritual being feels separated and distinct from all others, a being unto himself. The spiritual being knows that he is connected to all others and lives his life as if each person he meets shares being human with him. When a person feels himself to be separate from all others, he becomes more self-centered and much less concerned about the problems of others. The spiritual being knows that we are all connected and is able to see the fullness of God in each person with whom he makes contact in his life. Being connected means that the need for conflict and confrontation is eliminated. Number 5. The non-spiritual being believes exclusively in a cause-effect interpretation of life. The spiritual being knows that there is a higher power working in the universe beyond mere cause and effect. The non-spiritual being lives exclusively in the world of the physical, where cause and effect rules. The spiritual being goes beyond Newton's physics and lives in an entirely different realm. The spiritual being knows that thoughts come out of nothingness, and that in our dream state, when we are in pure thought, cause and effect play no role whatsoever. Number 6. The non-spiritual being is motivated in life by achievement, performance, and acquisitions. The spiritual being is motivated by ethics, serenity, and quality of life. For the non-spiritual being, the focus is on learning for the purpose of high grades, getting ahead, and acquiring possessions. For the spiritual being, success is defined by aligning oneself with one's purpose. The spiritual being knows that living purposefully involves serving in a loving fashion. While the spiritual being will achieve and perform at high levels and even acquire many possessions, it is not the end-all principle that guides his life. Number 7. The non-spiritual being has no place for the practice of meditation. The spiritual being cannot imagine life without it. For the non-spiritual being, answers are sought by working hard, struggling, persevering, setting goals, and in competing in a dog-eat-dog world. The spiritual being knows the enormous power of the practices of meditation. He knows that meditation makes him more alert and able to think more clearly. For the non-spiritual being, this is perceived as an escape from reality. But for the spiritual being, it is an introduction to a whole new reality that includes an opening in your life that will lead you to miracle making. Number 8. For the non-spiritual being, the concept of intuition can be reduced to a bunch of haphazard thoughts. For the spiritual being, intuition is viewed as guidance, and this inner insight is never taken lightly or ignored. You know from your own experience that when you ignore your intuitive proddings, you end up being sorry or having a hard lesson show up in your life. To the non-spiritual person, intuition is often ignored or shunned in favor of behaving in habitual ways. The spiritual being strives to increase consciousness concerning their intuition. They pay attention to their invisible messages and know deep within that there is something working here that is much more than a coincidence. Number 9. The non-spiritual being hates evil and is determined to eradicate that which he believes to be evil. The spiritual being knows that everything that he hates and fights weakens him, and all that he is for empowers him. The non-spiritual being knows what he hates, and much of his energy, both mental and physical, is devoted to fighting what he perceives to be bad or evil. Spiritual beings do not order their lives to be against anything. They work for what they are for, rather than fighting what they are against. When you fight evil by employing the methods of hatred and violence, you yourself become a part of the hatred and violence of evil itself, despite the rightness of your position in your own mind. Real magic occurs in your life when you have eliminated the hatred that is in your life, even the hatred that you have against hatred. Number 10. The non-spiritual person feels no sense of responsibility to the universe. Therefore, he has not developed a reverence for life. The spiritual being has a reverence for life that goes to the essence of all beings. The spiritual being behaves as if the God in all life mattered, and he feels a sense of responsibility to the universe. Miracle-making capability comes out of a strong reverence for all life, including your own, and therefore, in order to know real magic, you must learn to think and act in ways consistent with being a reverent spiritual being. Number 11. The non-spiritual being finds himself laden down with grudges, hostility, and the need for revenge. The spiritual being has no room in his heart for such impediments to miracle-making and real magic. The spiritual being knows that all spiritual masters have talked about the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an act of the heart. If you fill your inner invisible self with bitterness and revenge toward others, you'll leave no room for the harmony and love that are necessary in order for you to experience real magic in your life. And finally, number 12. The non-spiritual being knows that there are real-world limitations, and that while there may be some evidence that miracles exist, they are viewed as random happenings for a few fortunate others. The spiritual being believes in miracles and his own unique ability to receive loving guidance and to experience a world of real magic. The spiritual being knows that miracles are very real, and that the forces that have created miracles for others are still present in the universe and are something that can be tapped into. The non-spiritual being sees miracles as accidents, and therefore has no faith in his own ability to participate in the miracle-making process. These ideas, which I call the spiritual dozen, require very little of you. They are not difficult to do, nor do they require any long training or indoctrination on your part. They can be accomplished in this very instant in which you are listening. Regardless of how you have chosen to be up until now, working toward becoming a spiritual being can be your specific choice today. You simply have to decide that this is the way you would like to live out the remainder of your life. With that kind of an inner commitment, you are underway. It is most important for you to know, however, that being able to make miracles happen is fundamentally a result of how you choose to align yourself, how you choose to use your mind, and how much faith you have in being able to use your mind to affect your physical world. The ancestor to every action is a thought. Here are some practical suggestions for getting in touch with yourself as a spiritual being. To prove to yourself that you're more than a five-sensory being, write down all the things that you experience within yourself that are beyond your sense of taste, sight, hearing, smell, and touch. By keeping track of what creates your actions, you gain the insight that your actions are coming from something that isn't physical at all. To help you to experience yourself as a multisensory being, test the power of your mind on something that you perceive to be difficult. Visualize yourself doing something such as improving a golf swing, or not having a drink at a cocktail party, or jogging for a mile. Describe it in detail in writing or record it on tape. Do this several times and see if you can manifest the vision in your physical world. When you do, you will have broken through the limit of your five senses. To get acquainted with the reality of your invisible world, question the pure physical evidence reported by your five senses. Your senses tell you that the world is standing still and you are moving upon it. But you know that the world is traveling at dizzying speeds. Assess how much your five senses delude you about your own reality, and then ask yourself why you put so much faith in those senses. To make contact with divine or spiritual guidance, just for a day, suspend your skepticism. Give yourself a gift of a quiet place and a quiet hour all to yourself. Ask for assistance in an area that is troubling you. See if you can create an image of receiving help from a guide that cares about you and wants to extend love toward you. I can guarantee you that if you make this a regular habit, you will begin to go to this magical inner place regularly, and you'll receive the guidance that has previously been so elusive. What you will be doing is making direct contact with your higher self, with the divine intelligence that is always with you. To connect with the invisible dimension we call death, keep track of your dreams, particularly those dreams in which you were in the presence of someone who was in your life but has now passed on. When you're able to make contact with those souls in your dreams and experience how real they still are, you will see that aging and death are only realities for the five-sensory world. You will have an awareness of your own immortality, and you'll begin to know that those whom you've loved and who have passed on are not truly gone from your life. They are there and available for you. To extend your sense of guidance in your life, begin to know that you do not have to sleep to make contact with a soul. If you can connect with the higher dimension in your sleep, work at believing that the same connection, the same loving guidance, is available to you whenever you choose to recognize it. To find models and companions for your journey, read about the personal experiences of people you admire. As you do, look for the spiritual dimension in their personal journeys. Whether your heroes be athletes, writers, clergymen, musicians, artists, or anyone else, virtually all of the truly inspired leaders in their fields have come to a point in their lives where they felt they were being guided. They knew that they were not alone, and they began to trust divine guidance in reaching levels they believed could not have been achieved otherwise. To learn new ways of sharing, examine your behavior toward those people in your life that you feel a need to dominate or control. Be it a spouse or children or co-workers, whomever, take some time to relate to them differently by seeing beyond their physical form to the fullness of God that is within them. Once you begin to see past the physical body of those around you, you will begin to relate to the very same invisible force that flows through you and them. To practice a life without a focus on control, attempt to help someone do something for themselves where previously you would have instructed them how to do it. Replace the search for external power with genuine, authentic power, which is the ability to empower others to take control of their own lives. To demonstrate to yourself that you're not alone, picture yourself connected by invisible strings to everyone that you encounter. In this way, you will begin to treat others as if they are truly a part of you. You will have a tendency to extend love and help rather than feel enmity and competition. To recognize how you've been taught to hate, make a mental note of all the people whom you regard as enemies. Realize that you've been taught to hate. Few people understand the simple message: the enemy is hate itself. Rid yourself of this hatred and fill yourself with harmony. This does not imply that you should be victimized by the ugly actions of others. What it means is that you do not have to have hatred and killing in your heart. To put yourself in touch with the non-physical universe, become comfortable with the concept of nothing. Your thoughts come out of the silent, empty space of your mind. From nothingness to a thought, effect without cause in the purely physical sense. Miracles do not need a physical cause. Allow yourself to experience the something out of nothing phenomenon. To put yourself in touch with your non-physical self, remove yourself from the physical world for a brief period of time. Quietly, within your own mind, let go of each of your senses, as you do every night while you're sleeping. The more you are able to let go of your attachment to your body through your all-knowing, all-powerful mind, the less you will use your physical state as a way of assessing your life. To keep your focus on purpose rather than on outcome, keep your mind, body, and soul totally in the moment of your activity. In all of your activities, stop and ask yourself, truly, why am I doing this? You will find that the outcome, win, or the reward, is just as fleeting as the moments you participate in the activity. Stay on purpose in your activities, rather than focusing on the ultimate reward. To rid yourself of a preoccupation with valueless things, rethink your attitude about your possessions. Make an inventory of everything you own. Is there anything that you would die for in that list? Now think about your values, your ideals, your loved ones, and ask yourself the very same question. You know what your priorities are. They all have to do with what you think and believe, not what you own. Stay on that purpose, and you will find yourself automatically shifting to a spiritual focus in your life. To conduct yourself on a spiritual plane, begin living one day at a time, emphasizing ethics rather than rules. Keep in mind that some of the most despicable human behavior has been conducted in the name of, "I'm only following the rules." The rules or the laws told black people to sit in the back of the bus. The laws said owning a submachine gun was fine. People who live by ethics have moved away from arcane, victimizing rules. Be that kind of a person for a day. Get yourself away from the rules and live ethically. To become more peaceful with yourself and the world, give yourself a quiet time alone daily for 1 week. This is extremely important and something that you will quite likely resist. Set aside 30 minutes or so to be alone and peacefully go within and quiet your mind. If you stay with it, I absolutely, emphatically guarantee that you're going to begin to discover a part of yourself that will provide you with all of the loving guidance you need in every single area of your life. To befriend and cultivate your intuition, treat those inner proddings that crop up in your mind as welcome guests instead of labeling them as nothing but random hunches. Develop a dialogue with that intuitive voice and simply note what you learn or what happens in the next few days as a result. The next time you have an intuitive notion, choose to follow its lead. To stay focused on what you are for in life rather than what you are against, inventory everything in your life that you are opposed to and then reword your list to reflect what you are for. Rather than being against evil, be for love. Replace your being against your child's bad study habits with being for a self-disciplined young person. Remember that all that you fight weakens you. All that you support empowers you. To develop an empowering attitude towards yourself, restate everything that you dislike about who you are in positive, affirmative ways. Instead of being against your laziness, be for having more energy. By being for your energy, you will take actions correcting your laziness. This is true of all your so-called bad habits. Restate them in terms of what you are for, and you will automatically empower yourself to correct them. Spend some time every day in awe, in total, complete awe. Be thankful for your liver, your hands, your invisible, incomprehensibly awesome mind. Treat all of life with reverence and awe, and know that it is all working purposefully. A few minutes a day in total awe will contribute to your spiritual awakening faster than any metaphysics course you could take. To move past anger and bitterness in your mind, isolate one person whom you feel has wronged you at some time in your life. Now, just for a few moments, instead of feeling the hate and bitterness you feel, try to imagine yourself sending them love. When you're able to send them love instead of hate, you will not only be healing yourself, you'll be on your way to becoming a spiritual being. Remember the sage words of Buddha. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. The final task on the journey to experience real magic is to set your mind, that is your invisible self, on the path of miraculous living. What follows is a guide for shifting your mindset to experiencing a world where real magic is not only possible, but it's your birthright. With this shift, miracle making will become something you not only believe in, but that you manifest in your everyday life. Number 1, reserve your judgment and your disbelief. I encourage you to cultivate a new, self-declared openness to anything and everything being a possibility for you. Having an open mind and suspending your disbelief allows you to experience new vistas, while your closed mind keeps you trapped in your old ways of thinking and seeing. Real magic is only available to those who can imagine any and all possibilities, while letting the how it will happen take care of itself. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Practice inner affirmations, giving yourself permission to adopt new ideas. I will keep an open mind. I refuse to judge anyone or any idea. I will act on my new openness rather than my old skepticism. 2, create a real magic zone in your mind. Make this a very private part of your life. Reserve a small piece of your consciousness exclusively for this. I've been able to manifest what constitutes miracles for myself by having this very private zone all to myself. It was once while I was in a shower quietly meditating that I considered being completely alcohol-free. I asked myself, or my guide, whom I call Icus, can I give up alcohol beginning January 1st of next year? The answer was crystal clear. Just don't take a drink today and ask again tomorrow. Just today. You don't have to look any further. And from that moment on, I have been completely alcohol-free. I recommend that you reserve your own invisible and formless zone in your own mind. Retreat there often to ask for the loving guidance, and the guidance will be there. Here's a suggestion for implementing this mindset. Keep one little corner of your mind open to miracle making. Investigate the lives of other people who've experienced miracles. Know this is possible for you, too. By allowing yourself to be receptive to these stories and genuine experiences, you'll begin to open up your mind to these very real possibilities for yourself. Number 3, affirm yourself as a no-limit person. When you develop this real magic zone in your mind and trust that you can go there at will, begin to affirm to yourself that there are literally no limits to the powers that you possess. A great rule of thumb is this: if you can conceive of it in your mind, then it can be brought into the physical world. To become your own miracle worker, you'll have to change the thoughts that create your world of limits and boundaries. Why not include the presence of real magic in your life as well? Here's a suggestion for implementing this no-limit belief. Affirm to yourself out loud each day that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and that in this spiritual realm there are no limitations. This affirmation will help you open yourself up to tapping into the universal forces rather than being a skeptic and never allowing them to work in your life. Affirm it first, and then begin to act on that affirmation. Number 4, develop a new mindset toward the concept of intuition. You really must become comfortable with the idea that strong inner pleadings and sudden hunches are truly inner voices offering you guidance. Think of your intuitive self as God talking privately to you, just as you talk privately to God and call it prayer. I'm absolutely certain that you have numerous stories of times that an inner voice prompted you to behave in what seemed to be an irrational way and turned out instead to be life-saving. It happens to everyone. Most of us get these intuitive signals on a regular basis. Your intuition, that fuzzy inner voice that you hear so often, is a part of your life. It's there. It's real. Pay attention to it. Here's a suggestion for implementing this new mindset. Practice listening to and following your intuition just one day at a time. Try following one of those hunches in a new way just once today. Forget about the outcome and remind yourself that by listening to these intuitive proddings, you overcome an inner mental inclination to ignore them. Number 5, discover the secret that sits in the center and knows. Become familiar and comfortable with the notion that nothingness has something to offer you on your path to real magic. Consider, it's the space between the notes that makes the music. A note without space is one long sound. No nothingness, no music. Consider this, a room is not a room without silent, empty space within, surrounded by the shape of material form. No nothingness, no room. And so it is with you. You too are material form surrounding the invisible, silent emptiness that is also you. Without that nothingness inside, there can be no you. It is out of that secret in the center that you will be able to create miracles for yourself. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Remind yourself that the world of form surrounds invisible emptiness. Remind yourself that you are form surrounding the invisible life energy. The more you trust that your life is on purpose and that you will not be misguided, the more you will commune in the peaceful, harmonious world of real magic. Number 6, learn to learn through knowing and trusting rather than doubting and fearing. Much of your learning has likely involved questioning your ability to gain a particular skill. You were taught to doubt in a culture that stressed, you can't, it's wrong, you don't have the right background or the right credentials or the training or the experience. Out of doubt came a fear of your greatness, a fear of disapproval, a fear of failure or intimacy, and even success. If you want to become acquainted with real magic, fear and doubt must be replaced with trust and a strong reliance on internal knowing. Keep in mind as you shift to this new consciousness that behind fear is powerlessness. That which you fear you are fighting, and fighting always weakens you. Behind trust is empowerment and love. It is your choice always, and the choice begins in that amorphous inner world of the mind. Here's a suggestion for implementing this new mindset. Just for a few minutes today, in your encounter with strangers, shift to knowing and trusting as your way of interacting. Let go of the doubt and treat that clerk or that telephone contact with trust and confidence. This business of learning through knowing and trusting serves you in millions of ways. Try it. Suspend your doubt and fear and trust that things will work out. Number 7, affirm that your intention creates your reality. Memorize and continually remind yourself, my intention creates my reality. Intention is the energy of your soul coming into contact with your physical reality. What you see around you, who you associate with, how you function daily, and virtually everything about the physical you is a result of your intentions or how your thoughts became energized into action. Creating miracles in your life comes from your intention to do so. Not your wish, not your desire, not your goal, your intention. Then and only then, you'll begin to turn that same potential into your reality in the material world. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Rather than simply laying out goals or wishes for how you want your life to go, try shifting to the active language of intention. I intend to heal myself of this illness, rather than I wish it would go away. The concept of intention, of applying action to your inner pleadings, will allow you to activate what needs to be done in order to complete the thought and make it a physical reality. This is the very stuff of which miracles are comprised. Number 8, experience surrender and satori. Surrendering is the equivalent of putting inspiration into your life. When you are inspired, you feel purposeful. When you trust in the invisible intelligence of the universe, you feel guided. It can happen in a moment, and it often occurs just that quickly. In Zen, they call this process satori, which translates roughly to instant awakening. This feeling of satori is a result of an inner decision to be at harmony with yourself and your physical world. It's really a decision to surrender. You can very likely look back to some significant positive shifts in your own life and realize you experienced a moment of awakening. This is the surrender moment called satori. Satori is available to you every moment of your life. It can only come if you have an openness to it and if you're willing to surrender. Just simply trust. Become still and then listen to your own mind. Be guided by an awakened attitude of surrender. The rest will happen as you see the light or experience the glorious feeling of satori. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Think of the habits that have plagued you for a long time. Determine to go through the gate and change unwanted habits one day at a time. Recall the wisdom of satori. Surrender to a new consciousness, a thought that whispers, I can do this thing in this moment. You've awakened just for this moment. Now go to the next moment with this same surrender, not thinking about tomorrow or anything in the future. This is how you go about making those seemingly difficult changes, one step at a time with an inner grace that allows you to surrender and stop the fighting. Number 9, learn to act as if the life you visualize is already here. Act as if that which you perceive in your mind is already here in the physical world. You create your thoughts create your intentions create your reality. Consequently, you must begin to ignore your own doubt about the importance of your inner world and start acting as if the images you desire are already your reality. Here's a suggestion for implementing this new mindset. If you want to achieve something that has always eluded you, act as if it is already here for this day only. If you've always wanted to be in excellent physical shape, but have never achieved it, act as if today you are a perfect physical specimen. Walk instead of driving to the store. Eat properly. Exercise in the privacy of your bedroom. This is the avenue of miracle making. If you want to be confident but don't normally act that way, today, just this once, act in the physical world the way that you believe a confident person would. This is how miracle-minded people really act in their lives. Try it. Number 10, live according to your spiritual self first and your physical self second. In developing your mindset for real magic, you must begin the process of living primarily according to your spiritual self. Miracles will only occur if the choices you are making are in concert with your spiritual self. Your first responsibility is to your spiritual side. Consult your mind before acting and therefore become authentic to yourself. It is nothing more than an internal shift. There is no need to rid yourself of physical habits nor pretend that your physical longings don't exist. Instead, what you do is you rearrange your priorities, making first contact with your soul, paying attention to it first, and allowing your behaviors in the physical world to flow from those new thoughts. Look within and listen, and your priorities will be clearly seen and heard by your physical self. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Rearrange your priorities just for a day. Make your mental images the most important part of your life and live according to them just for this day. See yourself having a pleasant, lovely evening with your spouse or your loved one. Don't let this picture go. This is in alignment with your spiritual self first. It's all still an invisible thought. Now act that thought out exactly in the manner which you first created it in your mind. By aligning yourself here first and keeping that priority uppermost in your mind, you'll soon see how easy it is to keep that alignment operating throughout your daily life. Number 11, study the paradox. You can never get enough of what you don't want. Consider all of the things that people do not want. The alcoholic despises the alcohol which consumes his life, yet he can never seem to get enough of it. So too the drug addict. So many of us disdain the money that seems to run our lives and the need to chase it, yet we never seem to get enough of it. That which you crave sends an unwritten, unspoken message to you. I am incomplete without that which I crave. If I get it, I will be more whole, more complete. But this is an illusion. Since you already are it all, you do not need anything else to complete yourself. When you truly know this, your wants disappear, and you're able to do nicely without that which you don't want, but mysteriously keep on craving. When I gave up the pursuit of money, more of it flowed into my life than I'd ever known before. When I gave up needing to be right, I gave up the anger and the grief that accompanied that need. When you know that you're already complete, already whole, the pursuit of things which you truly do not need or want diminishes, and your life takes on the delicious flavor of purpose. Here's a suggestion for implementing this mindset. Create an inventory of those things in your life which you continue to pursue, but truly do not want in your life. Now create an inventory of what you would like next to the one you've just outlined. Rather than deception, you might substitute truth in your relationships. Rather than booze, you might substitute 8 glasses of water a day. Rather than anger, you might substitute love and harmony. By assessing that which continues to reign into your life because you're letting it in and encouraging the leaks in your life, you'll automatically have the handle on a new way of eliminating the erosion in your life. Inventory your life. Get it on purpose. Number 12, ask nothing of anyone and practice unconditional acceptance. All your demands of others create an environment where miracles are impossible to manifest. You must be empty of judgment and demand in order to experience real magic in your life. Asking nothing of anyone gives you a true sense of freedom. Whenever you're about to be upset or angry at someone, stop yourself with this statement: they owe me nothing. I expect nothing of them. I'll just accept them where they are right now. You'll find that 2 days of practicing this attitude will convert you quite nicely, particularly if you practice this with the person to whom you are the closest. For me, it's my wife. When I remind myself that she owes me nothing, that she is a loving presence in my life with no obligations to me, then I have to be accepting of her unconditionally. Notice I didn't say that I had to agree with her 100% of the time. I simply remind myself to demand nothing and to accept her unconditionally. Her presence in my life is a gift to me. We are totally responsible exclusively for our own souls. When I remember that, my wife and I have a beautiful spiritual partnership that is joyous. When I forget it, as I do occasionally, we have stress and unpleasantness, and real magic is impossible. Life is what it is. It's no more and it's no less. Ask nothing of it. Come alive in your mind to the point of demanding nothing of anyone, or even of life itself. See the divineness in all of the people you encounter. Accept that, and you will be in the inner frame of mind for creating real magic. Here's a method of implementing this. Give yourself a day to ask nothing of anyone. Your spouse, your children, your co-workers, everyone that you encounter just today, decide to give to instead of taking from. You will soon see the less you expect from others, the less demanding you are that they serve you, and the more will come your way. Just give love and unconditional acceptance to those you encounter and notice what happens. How can you be angry or hurt when you have no expectations? Number 13. Begin to develop authentic power for yourself. To be authentically powerful, your power must not reside in how others react to you, nor exclusively in your physical strength or appearance. Authentic power is not located in the physical body because of the inevitable changes that transpire in the material world. Authentic empowerment is found on the path of alignment with your soul's purpose. With each step that you take to align yourself with your soul's purpose, you further empower yourself. As you listen to this tape, remind yourself that your objective is personal empowerment, to literally become your own miracle maker. When you become realigned, you will follow your inner signals almost effortlessly. The physical temptations will remain, and occasionally you will allow them to win, but your new spiritual alignment will dominate your life, and a periodic slip will not dislodge your authentic self. Align yourself to the soul. Listen to those inner pleadings to be at ease and on purpose, and you will shift your life over to being an authentically powerful person. It is with this mindset that real magic will become available to you as a life choice. Here's a suggestion for implementing this. Detach yourself for a brief period from the behavior of controlling others through your size or your authority position or your physical appearance or your age or your wealth or anything that's external to yourself. Imagine yourself as just a soul interacting with other souls. Truly treat others as if the fullness of God resided within them and that all manner of physical world attributes are non-existent. Give this a try for a day or two. See how much authentic power you truly possess. All of your physical attributes will someday disintegrate, as does everything in the world of form. Know this and live today as if it has already happened. I often do this with my little children. I imagine myself without my adult-sized body and all of the power that goes with being grown up. I try to relate to them for a period of time, say on the way to school, as if we were all without bodies and only our thoughts and souls were present in the car. I see how empowering this is to them and to me. I listen to them rather than giving them orders. They see me as a loving guide rather than a big person father who can make them do what I want them to do. Give up your need to control and substitute a kind of unconditional acceptance of those you meet as soulmates, all equal in the eyes of God. You will be surprised at how you will empower others as well as yourself when you shift your inner world away from domination and control to one of unconditional respect and loving harmony. And finally, number 14, practice daily meditation. This is all out crucial. Learn how to meditate and make meditation an integral part of your daily life. This final step in creating your miracle mindset is, for me, the most significant. 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine myself meditating on a regular basis. Today, I can't imagine myself or my life without it. It's the vehicle I use to create the state of mind I've been describing. Meditation teaches you to be peaceful, to remove stress, and to receive answers where confusion previously reigned, to slow yourself down, and ultimately to be able to go to that peaceful place at any time. And I do mean any time. In the middle of a business meeting, in the midst of a tragedy, or during an athletic competition, any time. Meditation can and will help you to become your own miracle worker and come to know the meaning of real magic. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. There's no specific strategy to follow. It truly is just allowing yourself to go into another dimension that is free of the limitations that you experience in your physical world. In your meditative state, you can play out a difficulty or problem in your mind. See it. Experience it first within your invisible self, and then play it out how you want it to go in your physical world. Remember the key. As you think, so shall you be. There are many wonderful books and guides on the subject of meditation by people far more qualified than I am. I will describe how meditation works for me. However, you will only know what it is and what benefit it offers you when you experience it directly. I have found that my most valuable meditation time is early in the morning. You might want to take that last hour in the morning before you normally would have awakened and devote it to meditation. Don't worry about being fatigued, because it seems that 1 hour of meditation can be the equivalent of an entire night's sleep. My first objective in meditating is to get myself to an alpha state. What works for me is taking deep breaths and concentrating totally on the longest intake and outtake I can manage without having any intervening thoughts. I avoid the temptation of endless thoughts bombarding my consciousness by repeating the word I as an inner mantra, very slowly to match my breathing pattern. The alpha state is an incredible lightness of being. I then concentrate more fully on my inner vision and may elect to create a pure white screen. I feel alone, peaceful, blissful, and ready to use this meditation time in any way I desire. Each session offers numerous opportunities to use this time in a valuable way. You are now entering the spiritual world as you elect to go within yourself and discover God. I welcome this time and suggest it to be treated as divine and special. Don't let anyone degrade it or impinge upon it. The practice of active meditation includes presenting problems or questions for consideration. I often ask, what is the lesson here? Or how can I benefit from this situation? For example, at one time I was experiencing some difficulties with my 14-year-old daughter. At issue was a boy she wanted to date, and it felt impossible to talk to her without our communication being mired in upset and obstinate behavior. In a meditation, I asked the question, what is the lesson here? How can I be of service to my daughter? Suddenly I saw her on my inner screen. She was crying, and I asked her, what's the matter? She responded, I can't talk to you about it. You're my father. You really don't understand. I visualized joining her, held her hand, and said, I agree with you. I am prejudiced and overly protective as your father. But I know someone you can talk to. Then, all in my mind, I transformed myself back to her age. There I was, 15 years old, holding my daughter's hands. As a teenager, I asked her to tell me what was bothering her. She opened up, telling me, teenager to teenager, all that bothered her about her father. She related, among other things, how I couldn't be objective and didn't trust her to have good judgment. When I came out of this meditation, I was crying, but I felt as if I'd made a breakthrough. While it was merely a ritual of the mind, it was truly a miracle in the making. Later that morning, I had perhaps the most meaningful conversation with my daughter of our entire lives. I related what had taken place in my meditation. We sat holding hands, explaining to each other how we felt and vowing to share more openly what was troubling us. The situation was resolved. We hugged each other and said, I love you. I will try harder to hear your concerns. Both of us said these magic words. I've included this little story here as an example of one of the many things you can do while you're meditating. The vehicle of meditation offers uncountable opportunities to resolve conflicts. The guidance is there within you. While meditating, you can ask questions and receive answers. You can also go backwards in your life and relive experiences and be able to see the lessons that each of those life experiences provided. You can commune with those who were once in your life and are now either in a different part of the physical world or who have left this physical world. You can learn to get to the heart of any illness that may be a part of your life, blessing the discomfort or disease and seeking the illness's meaning. You also may come into contact with your healing capacity. You can discover that your mind is capable of creating chemicals that will reduce your discomfort and aid your healing. You can learn to ask for and receive the courage to make significant changes away from addictive poisons and unhealthy lifestyles. You can also just simply empty your mind and quietly go within and allow whatever guidance is there to come to you in that quiet, empty, silent space within you. After meditating, I enjoy a continuation of the experiences of that incredible lightness of being. I feel centered and focused and relate to others, seeing the fullness of God in them. I really cannot emphasize enough how valuable the practice of meditation is for me. My technique is my own. It's not part of any formal meditation training. It works for me, and it has evolved, as will yours, from having the intention to make contact with this higher part of yourself. When you believe it is there, you will discover how. There are many wonderful books and guides available to assist you in the how, but at this point, you need the intention to discover it for yourself. When you have committed yourself to achieving your miracle mindset, you may find the following checklist helpful. These 14 suggestions are only a beginning, but they are the keys that can unlock the door to real magic thinking in your daily life. Here's a review. 1. Reserve your judgment and your disbelief. 2. Create a real magic zone in your mind. 3. Affirm yourself as a no-limit person. 4. Develop a new mindset toward the concept of intuition. 5. Discover the secret that sits in the center and knows. 6. Learn to learn through trusting rather than doubting and fearing. 7. Affirm that your intention creates your reality. 8. Experience surrender and satori. 9. Learn to act as if the life you visualize is already here. 10. Live according to your spiritual self first and your physical self second. 11. Study the paradox, you can never get enough of what you don't want. 12. Ask nothing of anyone and practice unconditional acceptance. 13. Begin to develop authentic power for yourself. 14. Practice daily meditation. Once you have the inner way, The outer way will follow. This tape emphasizes your unique capacity to create real magic in your life. The central premise is that you become what you think about all day, and those days become your lifetime. It is my belief that you have been taught the physical limitations of your own body. You have been taught what it can do and how well it can do it, how often it gets sick or injured, how difficult it is to stay at perfect health, approximately when it will die, and what diseases and addictions it can and cannot overcome. You've been subjected to what amounts to an indoctrination of your own limits as a physical being. This section will help you unlearn most of what you've been taught. To create the miracles that you seek in your physical body, you will need to follow some new strategies. I know that you are already a physical miracle waiting to unfold. I'm absolutely convinced that you can have it all when it comes to your physical body, and that you need not experience the limitations that characterize your way of living. I also know that you know what to do about it. You don't need another diet book or another exercise video. What you need is the ability to translate what your mind already knows into physical reality. And this is all accomplished by realigning yourself along the principles outlined in the first part of this tape. Now it is time to get specific about your physical body and get you started on manifesting miracles in your health and physical accomplishments. As you approach this subject of real magic for yourself as a physical specimen of perfection, keep in mind the body that you have showed up in. As you consider what it is that would constitute a genuine miracle for yourself related to your physical being, just ask yourself the questions that are truly important to you. What would you like your body to look like? What would you like it to be able to realistically accomplish? What poisons would you truly like to see out of your body permanently? What healings would you love to see take place? After asking yourself these questions, try this terrific exercise. Stand before a full-length mirror and close your eyes. Now envision precisely what you would like this physical body to be able to accomplish, how you would like it to look, how healthy and addiction-free you would like it to be. Get this vision firmly planted in your consciousness. Now open your eyes and look carefully at the body that you have created. Defining your miracle is the first step toward making it your reality. Remember, your body is only the physical package that houses the invisible part of you we call your soul or higher self. So let's consider what you need to do with your mind in order to create real magic in the realm of your physical body. Become a student of your physical body. In your mind, decide that, in spite of present physical health or abilities, you already are a miracle. Let's assume a nagging doubt is still there and that you want to experience real magic in the physical body that you occupy, but you seriously doubt your ability to do so. What you guarantee with that mental doubt is that you will not receive the guidance and assistance that you need. Your mental doubts are sending real magic away. It is incumbent upon you to examine how to change those thoughts around so as to give yourself the opportunity to create real magic in your physical being. If you are a student truly getting ready to be ready, you will assume responsibility for all that you have created. Then, re-examine how you've used your mind to create the physical body that houses your soul. In order to remove that nagging doubt and transcend that old way of thinking and creating your physical body, take an honest look at how it has been working and then commit yourself to a trial period of change. Once you have firmly entrenched a new way of processing the creation of your physical life, your teachers will begin to show up just as they have all along. But now you'll be in a position to accept the assistance they will provide. You can learn to develop more trust and faith in your body to heal yourself and stay healthy. How? Begin with a review of the 7 steps to achieving real magic as they apply to your own physical body that I've presented in an earlier section. 1. That invisible life force. Have you recognized the all-powerful invisible life force that is within you? Learn to tap into this life force when you're trying to understand the physical workings of your body. In order to be a student who is ready, begin to re-examine those negative inner voices and, at the very least, start to challenge them firmly. You must convince yourself of the power of your mind to heal and strengthen itself. You must have this as a belief. Number 2, your thoughts originate with you. Rid yourself of the belief that you are not in control of your body. Give yourself permission to use that invisible will in a way that opens up your physical world to what has seemed impossible. 3, remember there are no limits. There is nothing to stop you from converting your illness to wellness. Nothing. If you are hearing this and saying to yourself, he's wrong, he just doesn't know my condition, then that is what you will be using to create your physical body. Your limits will be what you defend and believe. All the negative conditions of your body, all of them, are capable of being reversed in some miraculous way. But only if you know and understand that the limitations that you experience are the result of limited thinking and limited believing. 4. Your life has a purpose. It is very likely that your physical body has been as purposeless as your non-physical self. You must get your body to purpose as well. Seriously seek to discover the lesson embedded in your weaknesses. You can then switch from focusing on suffering to learning what you can from your illnesses, the accidents, or your addictions. First comes suffering, second is outcome, and third is purpose. You will treasure your physical being as a vehicle that houses your soul, and you'll be in awe of its perfection and its beauty. It will be a joy to feed it properly, to remove the poisons, to heal it naturally, and appreciate its perfections. Number 5. You overcome weakness by leaving it behind. Learn to practice leaving self-defeating habits behind you, rather than trying to outthink or outmanipulate them. When you leave your old ways of thinking behind, your old ways of being remain back there as well. I was shocked at how easily I quit nicotine and caffeine, when I knew unconditionally that I no longer wanted those poisons in my body, and when I believed that quitting didn't have to be difficult, I was easily freed from those substances. Number 6. Examine what you believe to be impossible and then change your beliefs. If you thought you were relegated to a lifetime of addiction or disease or discomfort, you will re-examine that belief and begin to apply real magic thinking in its place. The words, "it's impossible," are symbols for thoughts. Miracles can only happen when you get rid of that concept of impossible and allow yourself to experience the magic of believing. And finally, number 7, you must go beyond logic. Abandon your heavy reliance on your rational mind as your guide. Your rational mind plays tricks and it deludes you. Allow yourself the luxury of believing in the divinity of your own soul. Know that you, body and soul, are a miracle, and that nothing that you can imagine in your mind is impossible. Even the creation of life itself comes from that invisible dimension of thought. These are the 7 steps to real magic revisited for the benefit of applying them to your physical self. The way to the actual creation of that new self, as with everything you have to learn, begins and ends in your invisible self, your magical mind. Jose Silva, the founder of the Silva Mind Control Method, is a man I've admired for a long, long time. I've used the Silva method of visualization myself for many years. It has helped me to overcome illnesses and accidents and to avoid surgery. I was able to heal myself of a hernia that I had been advised would require surgery. Obviously, I have a great deal of faith in the power of the mind to heal and assist us in creating higher and higher states of health. Jose Silva presents numerous case studies of people who were told their physical ailments were beyond their control, yet overcame them. The stories of people who have been able to manifest physical healing miracles are legion. The key to miracle making is not in reading a book or listening to another's words, however. The key is knowing when you are told that you have some kind of physical affliction that you can either prepare to suffer or prepare to heal. Your health is the result of an intelligence that is in every cell in your body, and that intelligence is neither visible nor identifiable. In order to create perfect health for yourself, you need to understand that the mind is the place where you process it all and decide about the physical reality you're going to experience. For now, keep alive the vision of what it is that would constitute your own personal health miracle as you explore the realm of miracles in your physical abilities. And the same strategy for manifesting miracles in your physical accomplishments applies to all other areas of your life. Real magic can only be accessed if you shed the doubt and fear and convert yourself to a spiritual being. Your great physical accomplishments which are yet to come are indeed miracles for you as you contemplate them today. Go within to the peaceful solitude of your mind. Access the higher part of yourself and know you are not alone. Stop competing with others and use your mind to allow your physical self to go to its highest level. Most people have built up a defense system for their particular addictions, and they argue for and defend their habits. Addicts, which includes almost everyone on some level, really want others to believe they do not have a problem. Inside, in that invisible place where truth keeps smacking oneself in the face despite external denials, all addicts know that they have a problem and that they would rather not be poisoning themselves. They believe they just need more courage or strength or will to change. It doesn't matter how far down you've gone, you have within you the ability to make a miracle of your life and rid yourself of addiction. Miracles in your physical world, whether they be healing yourself, achieving maximum physical health, ridding yourself of an addiction, or accomplishing a longed-for achievement, all depend on how you, as a spiritual being, choose to use your invisible mind and the guidance that is available to you. Here are some specific suggestions to make this your own personal reality in a brief review of the mindset necessary for creating miracles. Practice affirmations as part of your daily agenda. These affirmations will help you remove the doubt and judgment that keep you from moving to the next level on the physical plane. Here are some examples. I am in the process of creating the miracle that I deserve. I am willing to release that which has inhibited me up until now. I trust that I am not alone and that I will receive guidance when I'm ready. I am ready. I know that I have the capacity to accomplish anything that I conceive of in my mind. I am willing to do what it takes to make my dream a reality. Use these and any others you can write for yourself. When said aloud and repeatedly, they will help you dislodge your disbelief. Listen carefully to your body and all that it is telling you. This is your private, real magic zone that you needn't share with anyone else. Simply listen and take notice of what you're hearing. Before long, you will get the message your body's been delivering to you. Exercise me. I hate sitting around and getting flabby. Pay attention. Stop putting so much food into me. I hate sugar, and that's why I give you headaches when you feed it to me. Listen to your body, and it will tell you exactly what you need to know. Every cell in your body has infinite, universal intelligence within it. Nurture that intelligence. Revere it. Miracles will be your reward. Redefine yourself as a no-limit person. Practice new areas of activity. Note what it is you absolutely were certain you could not accomplish just 1 year ago. Choose one limitation and literally see yourself in your mind going past it one day at a time. You will be amazed at the results which started with a thought. Shift to intention. Reaffirm your intention to make yourself healthy. I am healthy and capable of achieving what I set out to do. I will heal myself. I am not smoking today. This is my intention. My wife Marcy does this with amazing results. She was once diagnosed with a nodule on her thyroid, which 3 doctors said required surgery. Her response, an intention. I will shrink that nodule and remove it from my body. Not a wish. Nothing could dissuade her. A simple intention that was followed by her putting those intentions into action. She spent a week at an Ayurvedic health center with Dr. Deepak Chopra, learning about diet and how it affects the thyroid. Her nodule is now almost gone. Her doctors are still expressing disbelief at this miracle. It all came about because Marcy's inner voices told her how to proceed in her treatment. Trust inner hunches and intuitions concerning your physical body. Pay attention to whatever seems to be a forceful, dramatic inclination within you. Listen and follow those inner dictates. Your inner voices will tell you what to avoid and who to seek out and what to read and whom to trust and what to eat and when to exercise and when to rest. Everything. You will find yourself experiencing the miracles I am talking about. Begin to trust the secret that sits in the center and knows. Though you may not yet have accessed your highest self, it is a part of you. Trust in the silent, invisible intelligence that flows through your form. After every meditation, I always feel I can accomplish anything, and I'm filled with enormous love and awe for everything I encounter in the physical universe. I am in awe of being alive, and I want to treat my body well. Since I've been meditating, I have reduced my body fat considerably. I've returned to the weight I was when I graduated from high school in 1958. I feel free from disease and addictive substances, and I find myself accomplishing more than ever before. You must go within and make contact, and then all else will fall into place automatically. Substitute knowing and trust for doubt and fear. In everything you examine in your physical life and all you would like to see happen for you, replace doubt and fear with knowing and trust. Look at the lives of the knowers. The knowers are out there making a difference in their lives, exercising, being healthy, and shocking the world with their grand accomplishments. The doubters generally are sitting around behaving in their accustomed role of critic. Experience that satori in your body. Instant awakening is available. Once you know within that you're on the right path, you'll find yourself in possession of the will and the strength you need. Be open to the possibilities of it happening in any moment. Satori, instant awakening. It happens first in your mind. and then you carry it out with the ease and whatever physical activity you need to manifest. Miracles come in moments. Be ready. Be willing. Behave in your body as if it is already what you want it to be. That's right. Fake it if you have to. If you see yourself in your mind as svelte and capable of new and dramatic accomplishments, then act right now as if that is your reality. The more you treat yourself to this kind of belief, the quicker your body will react to the image. Get a picture of yourself looking the way you want to look, acting the way you want to act. And soon that picture will become your reality. Remind yourself that your spiritual side has primary importance. Realign yourself so that your spiritual self has primary importance, and your physical self will then follow. Treat your entire being, body, mind, and soul, as one great big spiritual package that cannot be separated. Be a spiritual being first. Remember each day that you can never get enough of what you don't want. Look at all of your addictions, minor and major. Your body doesn't want that addictive substance or that excess food. The more you poison yourself, the more you convince yourself that you cannot overcome the addiction. This fills you with doubt coupled with fear, and lo and behold, there you are, incapable of getting past your addictive behavior. It is time to stop pursuing what you don't want and to get on to what you do want. You don't need another body. You need to trust in the divine intelligence inhabiting the one you have. Ask nothing of anyone in terms of helping you to get better. Don't expect assistance from anyone in your physical world. Send out love to others. Radiate your divineness out there. But know that no one else can do it for you as you create your own miraculous existence. Remember, you are powerful as a person only if you are giving yourself away. Your power and authenticity as a person will not be measured in duration, but in your donations of love. This is authentic power. Seek power in the physical body you occupy so that you can be even more purposeful, not so that you can control others. Go for authentic power, and you will see your physical body going along nicely for the ride. And meditate daily. Finally, and most importantly, meditate every day or as often as possible. Accustom yourself to going within and seeing your physical self accomplishing all you know will constitute a miracle for you. When you create the picture in your mind and know it there through meditation, it will come about in the physical domain as well. There it is, the world of real magic for you in your physical body. That self of yours is a miracle. That body that you occupy is a miracle. Know it. While I've been talking at length about the inner journey, it still all gets played out in your relationships to others who share this world with you. When you are inspired in your relationships and have mastered how to live peacefully and joyfully with others, your life will be on the path that I've called purpose. In short, you will be experiencing real magic throughout your life when your relationships are in order. Imagine what would be the ideally perfect state for you in terms of how you relate to others. Don't let anything get in the way of this vision. This is your fantasy. How would you like your love relationships to be each and every day? How would you like to relate to your children? How about your relationships to friends and acquaintances? And what about your relationships to everyone else in the world? What would you like all of these relationships to be like if you could wave a magic wand and decree that it would be so? The ability to create magical relationships in your life begins and ends with you. If you want to create miracles for yourself and truly live a fulfilled, self-actualized life, it will require nothing more of you than to accept complete responsibility for how you choose to relate to all of the other people on this planet. This, like the other areas of real magic, may require a great deal of unlearning and a willingness to think in new and magical ways. Now prepare yourself for some real magic in all of your personal relationships. In order to manifest miracles in your relationships in all areas of your life, you must redefine who you are. As you know, I'm asking you to define yourself as a spiritual being having a human experience, rather than the other way around. Your relationships are all in how you think about the other people in your life. Your experience of all of these people is only in your mind. Your feelings about your lovers come from your thoughts. They may, in fact, behave in ways that you find offensive. However, your relationship to them, when they behave offensively, is not determined by their behavior. It is only determined by how you choose to relate to that behavior. Their actions are theirs. You cannot own them. You cannot be them. You can only process them with your mind. You are a physical being and an invisible being to yourself, but only a thought to everyone else you encounter in your life. You are thought. They are thoughts to you, and that is where your relationships are located, in your invisible self, which has no boundaries, no limits, nothing to keep you from experiencing bliss in your relationships to others, other than how you use those thoughts. So now it's time for you to ask yourself the all-important question, what do you think about those people with whom you are in a relationship? Remember, what you think about is what expands, and your thoughts originate with you. If you're thinking about what is missing in the person you love, that will be your experience of that person and will define your relationship. You will get stuck in a mode of dislike and unpleasantness. When someone behaves in a certain way, do you process that behavior negatively by saying to yourself, I hate it when she does that? A negative response to the person with whom you're in a relationship only results in more unpleasantness and negativity. Because you can only act upon what you think about, negativity is all that you have available to act upon. Rather than processing another person's behavior in the judgmental way I've just described, you have the option to process their behavior in other ways. You could say, she's on her own path, and right now that is how she must react, but there are so many other qualities I love about her. This may seem like a Pollyanna method for relating to others, and it may even appear to be dishonest at first, since these don't reflect your true feelings. But real magic in relationships means an absence of judgment of others. You really do not define others with your judgments. What you are doing is defining yourself as someone who needs to judge. What you want to do is work hard at creating the exact thoughts in your mind toward others that will match up with the kind of relationships you wish to have. Just as you become what you think about all day long, so too do your relationships become what you think about. Your life and all of the relationships within it are all purposeful. Generally speaking, the quality of our lives is pretty much related to the quality of our relationship to the people in our lives. And, to add a piece to the equation, our relationships reflect how we relate to ourselves. That's right, to ourselves. When you cultivate the awareness of your body, mind, and soul as one, and experience unity within yourself, you are then ready to share this sense of wholeness and holiness with others, and this is where your relationships come in. When you have love for yourself, that is what you have to give away. What is inside you gets there by way of your thoughts. If you harbor hate, hate is what you give away. If you harbor self-contempt, contempt is what you give away. If you harbor love and compassion is what you give away. Your relationships travel the same course you do. If you learn through suffering and questioning why things were not working out, as I discussed earlier, then your relationships also suffered. If you followed the path of outcomes and began to see that there were lessons to learn in life, then your relationships also reflected this pattern. And if you've gone to purpose and have your life on purpose, your relationships will also reflect this position in your life. Remember, purpose is about giving. Let's take a look at the core ingredient of a relationship that is on purpose, and then examine some specific methods for getting there. At the center of a purposeful relationship is love, but it is more than simply being able to say the words, I love you, for the words are used by people who also berate and harm each other on a daily basis. Love is giving, and it has nothing to do with what you receive. This ingredient of love at the level of giving is how purpose is defined, and it is the ultimate in creating miraculous relationships. Even in the act of sex, the most exciting and fulfilling sexual encounters are those in which you know you are giving and asking for nothing in return. To know you are satisfying your partner truly and authentically is all it takes to have a perfect sexual encounter. When you begin to think only of yourself and how good a lover you are or how excited you feel, you've shifted off of purpose and retreated back to outcome in your sexual activity. It is perfect when you are giving. It lacks something magical when your mind is on receiving. This ingredient of giving extends way beyond the sexual part of your relationships. It goes to all levels, even to those relationships in which sex plays no role whatsoever. If you have love inside of you, that is all that you will have available to give away. You begin to see the fullness of God in everyone you encounter, and the level of your relationships to others takes on the glow of real magic. You see your children and all children not in terms of what they are doing or how they're behaving or misbehaving, but beyond to the invisible part of them, the soul that is in that young body. You meet that soul with love and radiate it outward to them, and they will in turn respond with love. You have loving relationships with others because you bring love, rather than because you seek it from others. Members of your family with whom you have had a difficult time relating are no longer the source of your disdain. Your anger and negativity is gone, replaced by non-judgmental love. This does not require long years of therapy or the assistance of support groups or drugs or special herbs. It requires only that you shift to being a spiritual being first and a physical being second. Your friendships and business relationships can also improve dramatically with this new giving approach. When a conflict arises, you suspend your negative thoughts and instead send out love. When you respond in an unthreatened manner and instead communicate an inner knowing in a peaceful, loving way, you are incapable of being rattled by challenges. You have created a miracle in that relationship. I can remember as a college professor having some gigantic disagreements with my colleagues. They were what we call difficult people to get along with unless you shared their point of view, which very few people did. I discovered I was always able to get my way with these impossible colleagues. I was experiencing real magic where others were experiencing exasperation. The secret? Send them love and ask nothing of them. The colleagues always came around and found it impossible to be nasty or confrontational with me. I simply sent them the love I had inside and then surrendered. This approach to relationships is basically my approach to life. Stay on purpose. Know that you're here to serve. Get off of having to prove yourself. Remove your ego from the encounter and send out love. Giving love with no expectations is the cornerstone of your relationship when you are on purpose. There really is very little else that you need to know. Practice this giving of love without conditions, and you'll find yourself feeling full rather than empty and blissful rather than miserable. Here are 4 ancillary qualities that go into this real magic in your relationships. 1. Relinquish your need to be right. This is the single greatest cause of difficulties and deterioration in relationships, the need to make the other person wrong or to make yourself right. The spiritual partnership is a relationship of equals. No one needs to be proven wrong. Each person has the right to their own point of view. A simple reminder goes like this: I know how I feel about this, and it doesn't match how she feels. But so what? It is enough that I know it in my mind. I have no need to make her feel wrong. Then stifle yourself, and you have created a miracle right there. You have replaced a potential conflict with a loving response. Practice this, and you will see love replacing anger between you. This is also true in your relationships to all others. Your children need to be guided, not to be made wrong. The embarrassment that goes with being proven stupid leads to a self-image of stupidity. You can replace those statements designed to prove how superior you are with loving responses designed to help your children and others examine their own point of view. This can be applied in business, with strangers that you meet, in disputes with your neighbors, in virtually all human relationships. 2. Allow space. Let there be space in your togetherness. When you love someone for what they are, rather than what you think they should be, or for how they please you, then allowing for privacy and space comes automatically. The clinging relationships racked with jealousy and fear come from individuals who believe they have a right to dictate what the other person ought to be. Rather than regarding the need of your partner to have alone time as a threat, see it as a time for renewal that you celebrate. Make every effort to help each other have that space. The irony is, the more space you allow and encourage within the relationship, the more the relationship will flourish. 3. Eliminate the idea of ownership. Seek to enjoy each other, not to possess each other. No one wants to feel owned. No one wants to feel like a possession. No one wants to be dominated or controlled. We all show up here with a purpose, and that purpose gets thwarted when any human being attempts to interfere with our heroic mission. Ownership is the greatest inhibitor to feeling a sense of purpose and mission in one's life. You don't have the right to tell the people with whom you are in a relationship what they ought to be doing while they're here on earth. That is only between each person and their soul. You may succeed in imprisoning another, and you may have a marriage that lasts for 60 years, but you do not have a loving relationship if either partner feels owned or like a possession. This is the lesson I had to learn the hard way. It cost me dearly. A painful divorce and many unpleasant hours in hostile conflict. Today, I can't even conceive of the idea that I could own my wife. She is her own person, and my own relationship to her is based upon acknowledging that in her. It is indeed reciprocal. It came about through giving, not demanding, through respect, not criticism. Number 4, you do not have to understand. What a great lesson this is in learning how to make all relationships work at a magical level. You simply do not have to understand why someone else would want to do and think the way they do. The fact that you are willing to say, I do not understand, and that is fine, is the greatest understanding you could exhibit. You are together not to understand each other, but to aid each other in living a life at purpose. These are the qualities that make for a purposeful relationship. They all orbit around the planet of unconditional love. Get to this place and you will begin to see results in all of your relationships. As you work on creating spiritual partnerships with all others, you will see the beginnings of miracles in other areas of your life. You will begin to reach into the thoughts of others and connect with them in ways that are inaccessible when you live with doubt and fear. You will begin to know what the other person is thinking. This higher state of consciousness that begins to develop between you and others is the full-scale use of that intuition I've been talking about. You can now literally connect to that same infinite, invisible intelligence in those you love deeply and experience a new connection, a new relationship. You are connecting on a higher level, a new level of awareness that you will come to call real magic. As you reach higher and higher levels of spiritual awareness, you will discover that what was once viewed as a miracle in your relationships is now your way of relating to all others. This new way of being in relationship extends up and down the spectrum of your contacts with all others. You become a giver, a person on purpose, and you focus on their quotas first and trust the universe to provide for you. You have created miraculous relationships by connecting to all others through the Tao, or the God that suffuses their physical form. You have shattered the illusion of your separateness and created a way to be connected instead. When you come to another with love in your heart, asking nothing, only offering that love, you create miraculous relationships. And when you come to another wanting something from them, not trusting them, doubting them, exploiting them, that is the level of your invisibleness that shines through, and the opportunity for miracles and real magic is decimated. As you listen to the following guidelines, do not be full of doubt about what may seem impossible given the specific people in your own personal life drama. It is an inner game. Those around you do not have to understand or even agree, and it may well be that specific persons who are on their own path may be out of your life on a physical level. If you know within, after finding your purpose, that certain people are no longer going to be sharing your physical space, then you can just as lovingly make that choice. This is you that I'm talking about here, a you who deserves to be treated with dignity and respect because that is what you are made of and is what you are giving away. Those who do not yet understand this will move away from your physical life, and you will find it easy to allow that if necessary. The duration of material relationships is not on my agenda in this tape. That is for each soul to determine, and I make no judgment about choosing to move on when it is time. Individuals will enter and exit your life much like the characters in a play. Always they deserve your inner love. You will learn not to judge those who move in and out of your play, even if they play out their roles badly. You will learn to love all of them, even those whom you cannot yet understand what it was they had to teach you. With this in mind, free yourself of any nagging doubt about the specifics of your relationships. Move ahead, beyond the names and faces, to that place of real magic. Affirm your ability to create happy, fulfilling relationships. Affirm aloud that you are entitled to be happy with everyone in your life. Send the doubt away with mental images indicating your readiness to create fulfilling, magical relationships. Once you have removed the doubt, enter your real magic zone. Within your mind is your corner of freedom to think as you like. Think of the person who is the most difficult for you to relate to. Perhaps it is an inconsiderate parent, or an impossible co-worker, or a tyrannical spouse. Now overcome your inclination to respond with anger and hostility. Visualize yourself sending out love and paying no attention to how the person responds. This mental practice will ultimately become your reality in the physical world. The universe will provide everything else that you need. Accept the limitless possibilities of your relationships. That glow you once felt in your relationships, perhaps when you were a budding teenager, was created by your thoughts, not your hormones. Know within that the only limitations you have to magical relationships are those you have imposed upon yourself. No limits, nothing but love. That is your mission, and you practice it by seeing the fullness of God in everyone you meet. Practice trusting your intuition, that invisible inner voice that guides you in all things, including your relationships. Surround yourself with people who encourage you to be all that you are capable of being. You will know who those people are. Stop forcing yourself to make a relationship work. It cannot be forced. The people around you must be interested in assisting you in your spiritual development. Your intuition will tell you who these people are. Don't ignore it unless you want to return to suffering as the way of learning your relationship lessons. Ask for guidance in all your relationships by going within to the secret that sits in the center and knows. You will be guided to give. Do so freely, without expectation. This very day, choose one friend or acquaintance to relate to from this place of inner knowing. Give that person precisely what you think they need, based upon how you would most like to be treated yourself. Forget about what they say or how they react. At the end of the day, see how you feel. The secret that sits in the center and knows cares nothing about outcome. This is your God within, the giving, loving soul that is immune to outcomes. Moment to moment, rid yourself of the doubt that you cannot have magical relationships. Affirm over and over to yourself, I know I can make my relationships blissful. Then, when you're about to be seduced into an argumentative stance, suppress your normal way of relating and quickly review in your mind what it is you want out of the relationship. This will give you the opportunity to send out love or to quietly sit in silence rather than striking out. Shift from a human marriage to a spiritual marriage. Create a spiritual partnership instead of a human marriage with one partner beholden to the other. Live this creed, and you will know miracles in your spiritual marriage. Switch from wishes for your relationships to intentions. This is accomplished with specific affirmations of what kind of relationships you intend to create and how you intend to conduct yourself. The important point to remember is that you cannot intend for someone else to act in accordance with your desires. Your actions will flow from this intention, and you will find yourself much more at peace with your relationships, however they work out in the physical world. You are here to serve and to love, but that does not mean being a servant. Send out love and let those who continue to abuse themselves and you do it to themselves if that is their path, but not to you any longer. Your intentions create your reality, so be aware of them and be willing to put them into practice in your world today. Remind yourself that peaceful, loving relationships come first and foremost from your state of mind. Once you have this knowing, you can surrender and simply let go of the conflict that exists in any of your relationships, for conflict cannot survive without participation. If others in your life decide to continue in a confrontational mode, you simply pass when that angst comes your way. You have created a miracle without changing anything other than your mind. Use the power of visualization to manifest real magic in your relationship. Try visualizing all of your significant relationships as already existing the way you want them to be in your life. Thoughts are extremely powerful. Thoughts held unwaveringly that reflect in advance what you desire and do not demand an outcome are the ingredients of real magic. Try it. Pay attention first to your spiritual and visible self and only secondarily to your physical self. Reverse yourself and be a soul with a body rather than a body with a soul, and play out in your mind first exactly how you want things to go for you. When you pay close attention first to your soul, listening and making contact with it, asking it how it wants to be nurtured, and making that the most significant part of your days, you will find yourself behaving in accordance with those positive, loving, giving thoughts your soul beckons you to maintain. Stop pursuing what you do not want. If you do not want conflict and pain in your relationships, keep in mind you are the one who is experiencing the pain. Assess what it is you are doing to maintain your anguish. Practice shutting your mouth if that is what provokes your pain in your relationships. Practice removing yourself physically from potentially hurtful encounters. Take a moment of silent reflection before reacting. Become more intimate and reach out with love where it is an unaccustomed gesture, even if you have to fake it initially. Ask nothing of those with whom you are in a relationship. This is one of the quickest ways to create miracles in all of your relationships. Simply say to yourself, I expect nothing because I know they can only be who they are, not what I think they should be, and proceed to act accordingly. Of course, this does not mean one overlooks outrageous or violent conduct, but the expectation that it should not be there and the subsequent pain I experience because of that expectation, I can and do control. By sending away the judgment about how others are supposed to be, you create a place within you for love, where judgment previously resided. Finally, as always, meditate each day and use a portion of that meditation to visualize how you want all of your relationships to be. Get a picture of yourself acting in these new ways toward everyone, and ask for divine assistance in being a giving, loving, non-judgmental person. Your meditations will give you peace and serenity for yourself and will provide you with answers that may elude you otherwise. Much of what you have heard here may be difficult for you at first because all of us are much more comfortable in assessing the quality of relationships by focusing on others in our lives. If they would change, the thinking almost always goes, our relationship would be perfect. The emphasis here has been on your spirituality and your willingness to imagine and create perfectly loving, giving, magical relationships. If you want to see how this relationship exists in its most natural state, the next time you see a mother nursing her child, know that you have all of the ingredients in that one example. I have sat in awe watching my wife unconditionally giving of herself to each of our infant children. A mother doesn't get mothering lessons. She knows in her heart what is required to have that perfect, miraculous relationship. She is on purpose, and that is why all of us survive as human beings. Without the unconditional love that a mother feels for her young, we would all perish in a few days from neglect. That is your model. And you can create the same magical, perfect relationships everywhere in your world if you simply follow the natural, intuitive awareness that is present within every cell of your being. You can have all of the prosperity you are willing to believe in and create for yourself. All things are possible. Keep this in mind as you set about to create the miracle of abundance in your life. I guarantee you that this will be the most unusual discussion you've ever heard on the subject of prosperity. The central theme here, as in the rest of this tape, is on rethinking the beliefs you have been taught to treat as sacred. Imagine in your mind what it is you would like to see in your life. What is your ultimate image of prosperity for your life? How much money, how much total prosperity would you truly like to have? Now open your eyes and see what you have created up until now. That's right. You have created your own financial picture, and it is precisely what you have acted upon. This is the hardest part for most people to truly understand. We feel we would be cruel to say that the circumstances of the poor reveal who they are. Surely these people did not choose such undesirable circumstances. But we mistakenly believe that we cannot be compassionate and concerned about those in miserable circumstances, while also encouraging ourselves and others to uncover any beliefs that may be contributing to that situation. Consider all of the people who have shifted from a life of scarcity to one of prosperity. When you examine what it was that made the difference, without exception, it includes the invisible world of beliefs and attitudes. A radio talk show host accused me of having a cavalier attitude toward the poor when I described my philosophy on this program. My contention was that being broke is a temporary state of affairs that afflicts almost everyone at one time or another, but being poor is an attitude, a set of beliefs that gets reinforced when we shift to blaming life circumstances for the conditions of poverty. One of the incoming calls was from a physician who practiced in Washington, D.C., who had grown up in a family of 13 children in total poverty in Jamaica. He ended his personal story saying, "Without my invisible picture of myself as a doctor, I could never have escaped the life of poverty that continues today for most of my brothers and sisters and all of my friends back home." He continued, "Dr. Dyer, don't you ever let anyone dissuade you from telling the truths that you know, because you are doing much more to help those in horrible circumstances than those who buy the big lie that their lives are beyond their own control." I cannot stop telling these truths because I, too, am a living, breathing example of what I'm talking about. I also left a life of scarcity behind me, and I, too, know the singularly powerful role that my beliefs within my mind played in creating a life of prosperity. I encourage you to suspend any erroneous belief that this may apply exclusively to Wayne Dyer and a physician in Washington, D.C., but has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with you. If you want to experience prosperity at a miraculous level, you must leave behind your old ways of thinking and develop a new way of imagining what is possible for you to experience in your life. Take an inner inventory and see if the following statements are a part of your consciousness. There's just not enough to go around. You have to get yours or someone else will grab it before you. There are only so many fish in the sea. You never know if opportunity will knock. If these and similar thoughts are part of your personal inventory, then probably you were taught that you are living in a world of shortages. The concept of lack has been embedded into your belief system. In order to develop an inner vision of prosperity, you will have to shed this old vision of scarcity. The following 5 essentials of a prosperity consciousness can help you to make this shift. 1. You don't need anything else to experience prosperity. Prosperity is first and foremost a mind game. You must know that you have all that you need right now. You are lacking nothing to gain prosperity for yourself. You are led to believe that the material things are reality and are providing you with what you need, while in fact they are only more matter which is made up of more invisible space. What you need, you already have, and when you know it, go within and create it in your mind. The divine sustenance you seek in the form of material things or money will be manifested in whatever amounts needed. You must develop this new inner sense and trust in the magic of believing. Trust in the power of your mind, in the knowing I have been talking about, in that divine guidance that is readily available to you. 2. You cannot create prosperity if you believe in lacks. When you have mastered the ability to become a spiritual being as outlined in the first part of this tape, you will understand that you lack absolutely nothing. All that you need for your life is already here. When you say to yourself, I don't have enough education, talent, or strength to experience prosperity, you are operating in your mental world from a position of lack. What you have become accustomed to is called deficiency motivation. That is, you assess all of the things that are missing or deficient in your life, and then you set up a plan to repair all of those deficiencies. Thus, you set your goals and go to work at becoming prosperous. But this is a gigantic trap. You will always be suffering from a disease I call more. When you get the money you thought you needed to be prosperous, your mindset hasn't been satisfied. Your mindset is on more, on striving, not arriving. There's another kind of mindset called growth motivation, and this is the trademark of the individual who experiences real magic in the area of prosperity. With growth motivation, you simply change around the inner thinking and decide to do your living within a framework of completeness. You begin to be motivated in your life by your own bliss, by your dreams, to live the life which you imagine to be your calling, your divinely specialized mission for being here, and prosperity becomes your very watchword. Abundance begins to reign into your life. 3. You are not separated into categories. To truly know prosperity, you must learn to stop dividing yourself up and separating yourself from your prosperity. You must learn to go beyond your hypnotized state, which has convinced you that there is first you, the thinker, then you, the doer, and finally the concept of what it is that you are thinking and doing. All of this is actually one and the same. All of what you have previously divided up as prosperity thinking, prosperous behavior, and something called prosperity that is located out there must be thought of as one. When you understand this, you will stop looking for prosperity as if it were something that you can wrench from its hiding place. What you need for a prosperous life, you already are. It is all you. There are no boundaries. Now take this awareness and implant it in your consciousness. You are not going to find prosperity. It will flow into your life only when you grasp this notion of your singularity. 4. You cannot experience prosperity if you believe that you don't deserve it. If you believe that you are undeserving of prosperity, that is the thought upon which you will conduct your life. Surrender the idea that you are inferior. You are neither superior nor inferior. You simply are, and what you are deserves prosperity. Once again, you have to undo the hypnotized state that led you to this kind of an attitude. It began in your schooling, and it continues today. It is a vulgar, obscene system that creates large numbers of people who know no other way to assess their own value other than in comparison to others, and in so doing, it creates many who simply begin to think that they are not deserving of prosperity in any sense of the word. When you stop buying into that model, you can see that you are just as deserving of prosperity as anyone else on this planet. 5. Rejoice in the prosperity of others. When you feel contemptuous toward the accomplishments or lifestyles of others, or even a twinge of jealousy, you are harboring negativity where love must reside. When you have only love within you, that is all you will have to give away. You cannot be fulfilled and envious at the same time. Foster an inner belief that anyone who has achieved prosperity is entitled to it, and that their success is not a reason for you to feel inadequate or wanting. Have a quiet acceptance of what is, send it love, and then get on with the business of creating a full, prosperous, loving life for yourself. These are the 5 factors that are most crucial for getting to a prosperity consciousness. Once you are working each day on developing this way of being, your higher self will begin to allow you to experience more and more prosperity in your life. This new consciousness will lead you back to that all-important dimension that is a central theme of this tape, living your life on purpose. As you've heard throughout this tape, you can only experience real magic when you get your life to purpose. In the area of your work, you may have been spending a great deal of your time and energy doing things that you dislike, but telling yourself that it was absolutely necessary because you had bills to pay, a family to care for, or you simply had no other choice. But you cannot experience fulfillment or the opportunity for prosperity miracles while you are living a life of loathsomeness. There must be bliss and harmony within in order for you to know miracles. Thus, you must shift from suffering and outcome to purpose. Getting to purpose in the work that you do or the daily activities of your life means knowing that purpose is about giving without concern for the results. When you are able to shift your awareness to how you can serve others, and when you can make this the central focus of your life, you will then be in a position to know true miracles in your progress toward prosperity. There will be no limit to what you will receive in return for your giving and your sharing, when giving and sharing are all that you have to give away. What goes around truly does come around. The more you give away and do everything that you do in the service of others, the more that seems to come back. The cycle of real magic takes root. This lesson of prosperity applies to all fields of endeavor. When I was boarding an airplane early one time, I overheard the sarcastic voice of a flight attendant saying, "Here come the animals." I knew it was only a matter of time until that organization perished from a scarcity of passengers. Sure enough, they've gone into bankruptcy. Employees need to know in their souls that they are privileged to serve those who are willing to give of their income to use the service. But I'm not talking to an organization, I'm talking to you. You can shift your consciousness all you want, but you must also shift the emphasis of what you do from results to purpose. Try it. Shift for a 1-month period of time and see if miracles don't start showing up in your life. The less you need to force this new way of being on yourself, the easier it becomes to let it be the guiding principle of your life. It is about allowing your natural self to flow peacefully and knowing your bliss comes from giving and not getting. Letting yourself just flow is a concept you will want to become quite familiar with as you begin to allow the prosperity that you desire in your life. Earlier in this tape, I discussed how everything seems to work perfectly in our lives when we are inspired. Flow is that kind of an inspiration, one so powerful that all obstacles seem to be removed, and we are in love with what we are doing so much that it seems to just flow without any effort from us at all. Getting to flow in your life means achieving a state of concentration so total that everything else becomes non-existent. People who experience prosperity in their lives know how to achieve this magnificent state, wherein their activities, instead of being a tedious set of chores to finish, become more like a meditation, only they are active and involved rather than sitting quietly. Getting to this zone, you are literally watching your body do things that are incredible. You are experiencing magnificent joy or bliss, and nothing can get in your way. You are on purpose, and you are having that peak experience that others can only dream about. There is a way to get to this state of flow. These are not only the secrets to becoming a superachiever in the workplace, they are the secrets for producing genuine miracles in your life. This process includes 1. Having an overriding spiritual goal that gives meaning to your work. Making your work a meditative experience, and instead of seeing yourself as doing a particular task, you actually in your mind become the task. You shift from a human doing to a human being, if you will. There is no separation. You and the task are unified, all in the name of that overriding spiritual objective to give of yourself in a purposeful way. 2. Focus and close your mind to all distractions. You can train your mind to focus, and this is why I've been encouraging you to learn to meditate. Give your mind the same mental training that you give your body when you want your body to be in a maximum physical condition. You need not be a slave to your senses. Focusing is your natural knowing within. You can either ignore it or go there often. 3. Surrender to the process. You must resist your impulse to strive for what you want. Surrender to God or your higher power, or however you choose to spell it. You must let go and surrender to the actual process. Forget about the result and put your mind and your physical body totally into the experience at hand. This is not that difficult to achieve. Don't strain to achieve. Instead, enjoy the process of the work that you are doing. The results will come independent of your striving for them. 4. Experience the ecstasy. This is the automatic result that will flow to you from the above guidelines. You will know a kind of inner beatitude and bliss that will be unmistakable. It will sneak up on you and hit you over the head, so to speak, but nevertheless, you will know that glorious emotional peak experience if you get yourself to flow in your life. The ecstasy is its own miracle. 5. Watch as you see yourself reaching peak productivity without striving. Your state of ecstasy opens up new vistas of creativity and energy. This natural state of bliss is the key to improving your performance. This is the state that superachievers are able to create for themselves. The processes of surrendering, focusing, and living at purpose lead to ecstasy. When you feel that inner bliss, you simply want more and more of it. The more of it that you are able to create for yourself, the more productive you become. Your thoughts create all of this ecstasy and ultimately all of the miracles that are going to come into your life in the form of increased prosperity. Your mind is very powerful in terms of what it can produce in your physical reality, as well as the physical reality beyond your own borders. You are now on a path of working toward reversing scarcity consciousness to one of prosperity. This is largely a mental game. You must convince yourself that you and only you are responsible for the pictures in your mind. You must know how very powerful your picturing process is in creating the material world that you experience. This is a universal principle. This is a vital, alive factor of the universe that you are a part of and that is also a part of you. What you can conceive of as a picture in your mind, you can create in the physical world, provided you do not let go of the picture. My wife Marcy and I are currently having our children take lessons from acknowledged masters in the art of meditating and learning to trust one's inner vision. We do this not to give them an advantage over others, but for the purpose of their knowing that they have something within them that no one can ever take away from them, regardless of the material circumstances of their lives. They are learning very early that their peace and tranquility as human beings is dependent upon themselves, and that they have a special retreat within that is always available to them. Most of us believe that money-making is a game that is played with forces outside of ourselves, forces such as the economy, the stock market, and the like. But as you move along the spiritual path and begin to get a taste of the power of your invisible self, you discover that money-making is merely a game that you play with yourselves. It involves not being attached to it and not giving it power over your life in any way. Authentic power comes from your soul, that magical place that is always within you. The examples of people who have large amounts of money but are purposeless in their soul are everywhere. Famous actors and actresses plagued by drug habits, committing suicide at what others thought of as the peak of their careers, divorce rates among the very wealthy skyrocketing along with painful courtroom squabbles over who gets what. When you're on purpose, doing what you know you are here for, and forgetting about what will come into your life in the way of money and wealth, then ironically, money and wealth arrive in your life in amounts sufficient to provide you with a life of prosperity. And this is real magic in action. I can say this because it has always worked for me. When I chased after money, I never had enough. When I got my life on purpose and focused on giving of myself and everything that arrived in my life, then I was prosperous. What follows are some guidelines that you can use as you start to befriend your own miracle-making potential. First, of course, is to disdain all disbelief. Send scarcity out of your mind and refuse to have those kinds of thoughts. When an old, habitual scarcity thought begins to enter your consciousness, simply say, "Next." It will remind you that the old thought is now finished, and you are entering a new, prosperous thought process. Using "next" as a magic word will remind you to get on with the magic of believing, rather than the anguish of doubt. Then keep a corner of your mind exclusively focused on your images of prosperity. Go there often and use the power of your mind to sharpen your images of prosperity. Get down to specific details about what is there for you. Stay with the picture, or that real magic zone that you are creating. You will soon be acting upon those images, as well as attracting prosperity to yourself. Study the world of matter, of all material possessions at the subatomic level. Begin to note that everything material is nothing more than empty space when viewed from a closer perspective. See the folly of making that material world your master. Just like your thoughts, the material world is limitless. It is without beginning and end, totally abundant and totally available to you if you know what your true purpose here is. Develop a trust in your intuitive inner voices. It has been said that those who are classified as lucky are essentially those who go with their hunches rather than what others have prescribed. If you feel a strong inner inclination to change jobs or to try a particular investment, then place more trust in that hunch. This is your divine guidance encouraging you to take a risk, to ignore the ways of the herd, to be the unique individual that you are. Learn to trust your intuition and allow your physical body to travel the path that you are feeling within. Work at replacing thoughts within you that reflect the scarcity consciousness. If you elect to constantly tell the world what is missing in your life and how you can never get ahead, it is because you are in possession of an inner space that believes strongly in lacks. You can replace negative inner slogans with new thoughts that include abundance, plenty, bountifulness, profit, ease, and the like. When you see these thoughts as the way your universe is and process your world in these ways, the words and concepts will be your way of presenting yourself. You will begin to act on the new thoughts, just like you previously acted on the old ones to create your life circumstances. Develop a conviction in your heart that prosperity truly belongs to you. To think about prosperity is a great beginning, but you must make those thoughts that you are entitled to prosperity into actual beliefs. Merely wishing for it is not enough, for nothing will truly be in your life until you reach a conviction within you that it belongs there. Trust in the divineness that you are, and that is the perfection of the universe. Remember, when you trust in yourself, you trust in the wisdom that created you. And obviously, when you doubt yourself, you question that same divine intelligence that brought you here. Surrender and relax about it, and you will know what to do. You no longer have to worry. Prosperity will indeed come to you, and you will be creating it in a magical way. Trust in the miracle that you are, then get on with your life in a purposeful way. Now, act prosperous. That's right. Act as if what you deserve in the way of prosperity is already here. The person who acts prosperous is very generous. Be that way right now. If you're not generous when it's difficult, you won't be generous when it's easy. You must be willing to give to others even when your coffer is not full, for this is your purpose. Act in a spiritual way. Give at least 10% of what you see coming into your life to those who provide you with spiritual sustenance. It is the most divine way that you can be, and it is the secret to manifesting your own miracles in this prosperity domain. When God speaks through your hands and smiles upon the earth through you, because you are an unconditional giver, a purposeful being, asking nothing of anyone, prosperity will be your reward. When you have mastered the art of giving to others, then practice the equally important art of giving to yourself. Take a percentage of all that comes to you in the form of money and invest it in yourself. Put that money into a savings plan that is yours to monitor. See it as your miracle fund, and be rigidly firm about your contributions to this personal, fast-growing account. You will be surprised at how quickly this fund will grow and produce income for you. This is nothing more than a physical world investment in your own prosperity. It is a fantastic policy to teach your children, and it will lead them in the direction of their own financial prosperity. Get rid of the polarity that you may have about money. You have perhaps either seen money as God's blessing or as the arch enemy of spirituality. Keep in mind that if your purpose involves providing things that require money for others and for yourself, and if you are uncompromised about your own commitment to your purpose, then money will show up in your life to assist you with your heroic mission. The denouncing of money is a trap. Instead, see it as that which is manifesting in your life to assist you with your purpose. Then stay on purpose and use that money and any other physical abundance that will begin showing up in your life in larger and larger amounts to fulfill your commitment to your purpose. If money is all that you covet and you want it for the purpose of gaining power over others, then you will never get enough, because you never get enough of what you don't want. Your goal is in the invisible realm, that place where you do all of your living. Money and other symbols of prosperity arrive in your life to assist you on that path. If you miss the message, you may see lots of money come into your life, and you will also experience it disappearing. Avoid the trap of expecting your prosperity to arrive in your life through the efforts of others. You create your own life of prosperity. No one has to change in order for you to experience your own prosperity. This is an inner game, and you must leave behind your expectations of others. Take responsibility for your own feelings about prosperity, and you will eliminate any and all suffering that you experience in this context. Finally, as always, meditate daily on your prosperity. Get pictures on your internal screen that reflect you as a prosperous individual. Refuse to let those pictures fade, despite whatever circumstances you may have created in your life. Your meditations will give you an inner script to follow. Use this valuable practice to manifest what you truly want to experience in the physical world. Prosperity is something that I know can be achieved by anyone. If I can experience it coming from my scarce beginnings, then it is hard for me to imagine that anyone else cannot make it happen. To know the secret of prosperity, know that you can never find it. Or to paraphrase my spiritual guide, Icus, there is no way to prosperity. Prosperity is the way. You can choose, believe it or not, you can choose to have the personality that would most please you beginning today. Yes, that's right. You can choose your own personality. Why not? You've already established through a lifetime of choices precisely what kind of a human being you have wanted to become. If you close your eyes and visualize for a moment precisely what kind of person you would like to be, what picture emerges? What do you want? To reduce your fears? To have a genius IQ? To be able to stand up for what you believe? To have a positive, self-loving portrait? See yourself living and performing at the level of real magic. You must develop within you a new knowing that you have the capacity to create any change that you can conceive of for yourself. You have created your own personality, and thus you have the ability to change any part of it. You didn't inherit it. Nobody handed it to you. It is yours. You created it. Take responsibility for it. We grow up believing in so many limitations that after a while our lives actually manifest those limitations. We hear ourselves saying things that we accept as truth, when in fact they are misbeliefs that have turned into our truths. Here are 5 of those myths or misbeliefs that permeate our culture. 1. I can't help the way I am. I've always been this way. If you find yourself believing that you must always be the way you've always been, you are arguing against growth. You must shed the illusion that you cannot help the way you are. You must create a knowing within you that you have the power to create whatever kind of person you want to become in all aspects of your humanity. 2. It's my nature. I inherited who I am, and it can't be changed. To enter the realm of real magic, you will have to suspend such thoughts and become a spiritual being first, a being who has no limitations in the inner domain where boundaries are non-existent. 3. My personality is controlled by my chemistry and metabolism. This is a lie we hear over and over again, and it is repeated in some of the most prestigious circles, making it even more difficult to overcome. While scientists may in fact have a point about body chemistry, what they too often fail to address is what kind of control we have over our own body. Our body chemistry is always being affected by how we choose to think. I want you to take a look at the enormous power that you have in your mind for containing those enzymes or retraining them to work for you rather than against you. Here's misbelief number 4. My family is responsible for my personality. These kinds of pronouncements are the very sort of inner thoughts that will keep you from ever allowing miraculous changes to take place in your personality. You must know within that you not only have a choice today, but you have always had a choice concerning how you react to the influences of your family. The choice is always yours. Know that your family and your role within your family influence you today to the extent that you believe that they do. You must become the producer, director, and actor in the unfolding story of your life. 5. I can't escape my culture and times. If you believe that the culture determines who you are and what kind of a person you will turn out to be, then that will be your reality. On the other hand, everyone who has ever made a difference in the world has been an innovator. An innovator looks within and allows their conscience and commitment to a purpose decide who they will become. If you're going to follow your bliss and make a difference in the world, you will soon learn that you cannot follow the herd. Once again, it boils down to personal responsibility and a willingness to consult your own spiritual awareness, that higher invisible self that flows through you. As you think, so shall you be. These are the big 5 misbeliefs that make up the big lie that was thrust upon you from your earliest moments of consciousness. You must begin a program to overcome these illusions. As you now know, this entire program of creating miracles revolves around one single premise, that you become in the physical world that which you create in your invisible world. Here are the 6 keys to making yourself into the person that you choose for the purpose of fulfilling your heroic mission here. 1 is your personality. Create a fantasy in your mind and imagine exactly how you would like to be. Would you like to be more assertive, more loving and gentle, less anxious and nervous? For now, just know that all of these inner imaginings can be translated into physical behavior, for that is precisely what you've been doing all along anyway. Secondly, your talent. Just for a moment, visualize the optimal talent that you would like to have. Your choice to excel in any given area will be based upon your own personal interests. Your talent, like everything else about you, is a function of the invisible force that flows through your body. It is not in your hands, your genes, or any part of your physical apparatus. It is in the force that flows through all of your being. When you begin to know rather than doubt your talent, you will discover the necessary physical abilities to carry out your purpose. Third is your intelligence. How smart would you like to be? Would it take a miracle for you to be smarter intellectually than you already are? The best definition of IQ is, intelligence is what intelligence tests measure. Nothing more, just what intelligence tests measure. These tests, which supposedly measure something abstract called intelligence, were devised by people who want to sell their instruments, who want to slot people into compartments, who want to restrict people from attending certain schools, who want to set up a practice for the purpose of giving out these numbers to parents. They are silly, absurd procedures which give people some kind of external number to hold on to and explain their levels of success or lack of success in the material world. Know that your purpose is beyond anything that can be measured with scientific measurements. Who decided on this business of an IQ? Why should we label everyone in our culture with another number? You are as capable as you need to be to fulfill your purpose. Your intelligence is infinite. Almost 20 years ago, I redefined intelligence in your erroneous zones. A truer barometer of intelligence is an effective, happy life lived each day and each present moment of every day. You are a genius. You can improve your arithmetic and reading skills. You can learn anything that you put your mind to. You are a spiritual being first and foremost, and you cannot put a number on that. Fourth, your habits and customs. Would you like to be able to change some of the things that you find yourself doing repeatedly, but which do not serve you any longer? Use your magical powers of inner persuasion to challenge everything about yourself. Your personality is made up of the hundreds of habitual ways that you conduct the daily physical affairs of your life. A neighborhood within a few miles of my home has the highest unemployment rate in the state of Florida. Something close to 75% of the people are out of work. Yet as I drive through the neighborhood, I notice broken glass on the lawns, litter everywhere. Why? If 75% of the people are unemployed, wouldn't it seem logical that you would see these people at least picking up the trash and the broken glass with their abundance of free time? But you don't. You see people sitting around doing nothing. The circumstances of their lives have revealed how they have chosen to live. It doesn't cost anything to pick up and clean up, yet this is not done because those habits have become the ways of dealing with their circumstances. The same invisible force that runs through those who do pick up the broken glass and manage to work and support their families runs through those who make the opposite choices. It's in every one of us. Some tap into it, others ignore it, and then blame their circumstances for the habits and customs of their lives. You can change around your daily humdrum habits and get yourself fully involved in life, regardless of your income level or circumstances. Circumstances do not make a man. They reveal him, as James Allen reminded us in As a Man Thinketh. Learning to think in non-habitual ways is the essence of overcoming personality traits that no longer serve you. Fifthly, you're aging. Imagine for yourself the ultimate miracle, a slowing down, or even an elimination of the aging process. Now there is an outright, uncategorical miracle. You can have an enormous impact on the state of aging in your body. While everyone succumbs to the aging process, the question of significance is, do we have to? Aging is the forgetting of how to make things right within a cell. It is not normal. It simply is a learned way of being. The way out of this trap, the real magic that is available to you, is located, as is everything else, in your invisible self, your mind. You can absolutely refuse to let an old person into your body. If you can work your mind in a genuinely magical sense, you can strongly affect the aging process of the cells composed of indestructible DNA. It is in your mind where that invisible intelligence works its magic that you must examine your attitudes towards aging. Do you think old thoughts? You can begin to rethink how you feel about having your individual cells deteriorate. And if you use your mind in a new way to develop a new knowing within, perhaps you will be able to affect that process that you have come to think of as inescapable. Your emotional health is another area. Your emotions are physical manifestations of your thoughts. The joy you experience is located in your physical body, and the chemicals that are present when you experience elation can be identified and quantified. You manufacture those chemicals in your own quantum pharmacy that begins with your mind. When you begin to heal the inner you and consult that inner voice constantly, you literally begin to alter your immune system. Emotions show up in your body as physical manifestations of your thoughts. Keep this in mind as we head toward the path of real magic. These 6 categories comprise the inventory of personality variables that you control in your invisible mind. Your beliefs about them are all yours. Before moving on to the strategies that you can employ to bring about real magic changes within yourself, I feel that it is important to consider the biggest fear of all. The question that seems to universally perplex us is, where do I go when I die? Fear of death can be a great inhibitor in your life. It can keep you from living fully, and it can make your time here in this human form anxious and sickly. The way out of this dilemma is to face your fear of death directly. You know there's a part of you that is immune to death, since death refers to endings, and your soul is not subjected to such delineations as beginnings and endings. There is an essential immortality that is the birthright of every human being. The supreme goal of human existence is attained when we become peaceful with our own immortality and view death not as an ending or a punishment, but as an awakening, a reward, a return to the infinity which surrounds our parentheses in eternity. There is almost a universal agreement among those who have been to the edge of death. They all report blissful lights and an absence of suffering, an eternal welcoming. The basic reasoning for your anxiety about death is your lifelong habit of thinking of your body as you. As you learn that you are really a conscious mind dwelling within a body, you will begin to see the folly of such an all-out identification with your body. Soon you develop an attitude of loving concern for your body, but a detached sense of identification. As you awaken further and further, you will lose your concern for what happens to your body and replace that concern with a knowing. You will discover that those who have died are not gone at all. They are simply renewing themselves, just like you have been doing. Here are some steps that you can implement beginning today to manifest your new way of being. Remove all the doubt about what kind of person you can become. Constantly remind yourself that all that you have become is the result of all that you have thought. The way to change this is by thinking quietly, constantly, and persistently of the kind of person you truly want to become. Stop using sentences in your material world which reflect what it is that you do not want to be. Begin a process of affirmations by reflecting a consciousness of confidence and strength by talking about your unlimited capacities. Remember, what you think and talk about expands into action. Stay focused on what you are for rather than what you are against within yourself. For instance, don't think about not having any further resentments, because then you are still thinking about resentment. Instead, think on health, harmony, love, and bodily ease, and you'll act on those things. Remind yourself daily that you are a purposeful being. When you are living on purpose, giving of yourself in a blissful way, your personality will reflect that bliss. Remember that neither your family nor your culture gave you your personality. You created it. You do not have to continue to relive and reuse those old variables if they're no longer functional. Try totally trusting your intuition for a day at a time. Your inner voices will insistently let you know that you have the necessary ingredients to get your life to bliss. When you know that it is there and refuse to believe otherwise, you will find miraculous changes taking place within you. Remember, there is a secret buried deep within your invisible self. It says to you, you do not need another thing. You are already all that you need. What you are is all that you are supposed to be. Your inner and outer design is perfectly in balance with all things in the universe. Surrender to that secret, and you will have everything you need to live a purposeful life. Inventory the behaviors and characteristics that you exhibited as a child and which no longer are applicable to your adult life. Keep the words, "now you know better," high in your consciousness. You are in a constant state of change in your life. You are continuously learning how not to behave and what new talents to use. Use this awareness for developing other aspects of your personality. Create an intention inventory for yourself. Not a wish list, but an inventory of what you intend to create within yourself. Then shift to your intention stance. I intend to manifest the necessary talent and intellect to become the kind of purposeful person I am destined to be. In this way, you shift from wishing to action, and you are using your intentions to bring about miraculous personality changes as well. Begin to act in your physical world as if that person whom you would love to be is already here. In the present moment of your life, regardless of what you have convinced yourself of in your mind, you are that new, miraculous, self-confident person. Act the part that you want to play. The acting is in the physical world. The want is the inner voice. Learn to pre-play who it is you want to be in your mind before you put anything into action. This is how you create the miracle of a talent that you never believed possible for yourself. You live spiritually first. That is, you live it out in your mind, your IQ, your habits, your personality, your health. You need not share these inner pre-plays with anyone. They can be your own private journey. They will lead you to real magic if you stay with them unconditionally. Remind yourself that if you have judged yourself to be lacking, you will continue to manifest that lack as long as you focus on it in your own mind. If you have a choice in what you will know about yourself, then why not know positive things rather than negative things? You got to where you are because of your choices. Keep that simple realization close at hand, and it will serve you well in creating miracles for yourself. You are what you choose to be. Seek out no opinions on your own personality. Ask nothing of anyone in the way of assessment. Look instead to your own divine awareness of your unlimited abilities. Be polite when opinions come along. Send people loving thanks for their thoughts, and then proceed to go within. Ask nothing, and you will receive much. But if the receiving is your aim, you will be living a life of constant deficiency. Develop your own personal excellence program, first in your mind, and then start putting it into practice in your daily life. See yourself trimmer, less out of breath, feeling lighter and ageless. When you regularly hold these mental pictures, you will begin implementing them in your daily regimen. You'll find your body responding in beautiful, miraculous ways to your mental equivalents. Use meditation regularly to create the inner harmony and peace that will allow you to become the personality that best suits your magnificent divine purpose. While meditating, experience your own death in your mind. Yes, see yourself moving into the light. Awaken in your meditation and know that your eternal self is free of attachments and worries. The experience removes your fears and teaches you who you really are. This will free you to be purposeful rather than chasing rewards and results. Use your meditations to free yourself from the labels that you have placed upon yourself and to free you of the big lies about your inability to change certain things about you. Get very peaceful about being perfect and having all that you need to live your purpose. You do not need another thing to experience miraculous changes within yourself. Allow yourself to experience the feeling that you already are everything, including a miracle. Your miracles are an inside job. Go there to create the magic that you seek in your life. That is indeed your only reality. Just as the state of your life is a reflection of your state of mind, so too is the state of the world a reflection of our collective state of mind. Understanding this leads to knowing that we are capable of creating a world of real magic in the same way that I have been encouraging you to create real magic in your own individual life. The universe we live in works in exactly the same way as the universe that is within us. In order to create a world of real magic, it is necessary to know within that this is your job to accomplish. You cannot resign in anguish if others refuse to see the light. Know that you can radiate outwardly all of the messages in this tape and create the kind of real magical world that you envision. One of your biggest challenges may be in refusing to sit in judgment of those things which you perceive to be wrong or imperfect. The perceived inequities in the world are truly part of the perfection of the universe, but so is your desire to end them. If you stand way back in your mind, you will note that a revolution of spiritual dimensions is taking place right now. The Berlin Wall was built to last 1,000 years, yet today it is nothing more than a relic of an ancient non-spiritual past. That shrine of tyranny is but one of many that are toppling faster than we can update the history books. There is a new collective consciousness in the minds of people, and a new spiritual awareness is spreading throughout humanity. Nothing can stop it, for nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Communism, which insists upon atheism from its subjects, has been declared an international failure. Rulers can remove the outer places of worship, but the inner place, that invisible corner of freedom that is ever present in each of us, cannot be legislated. In China, where more than 1 billion souls are temporarily residing, 1 million of those souls face tanks to demonstrate their desire for freedom. And while the messengers can temporarily be imprisoned, the message cannot be halted. These changes are all taking place in the minds of individuals and spreading to other individuals to form a collective consciousness. Once the ideas become present in a large enough number of us, they become our reality. This number is called a critical mass. The force cannot be stopped. Some will try, but they will be swept away by the power of an idea whose time has come. The changes in the world are not restricted to political realignments and new nuclear policies. A new spiritual consciousness toward our environment has manifested itself into action as well. The idea that we should treat the earth with sacred reverence is being translated into physical realities. You are seeing the fruits of these thoughts blooming everywhere. All of the changes that you see taking place around you, which reflect a growing concern for the individual, for a peaceful, safe, harmonious world, are part of a glorious revolution that is taking place first and most importantly in our thoughts. You are a part of that process. Whatever thoughts you have can and will be spread to those around you. You influence the physical world with your thoughts. Of that you should be most convinced, having listened to this tape. If this revolution, this new way of being, is to take hold and overcome all of the remaining non-spirituality that infects the world, it will have to reach a critical mass in all areas of our existence. The most important question to be asking yourself as you look to find your own place in this spiritual revolution is, how do I see the world I live in? If you want, you can deny the spiritual revolution I have described, and instead see a world that is slowly but surely deteriorating into a non-spiritual morass. That will be your experience of the world you live in. Yet those who see the light of the world view the dark spots as merely potential light. Where is your place in the spiritual revolution? You are here on purpose to help make these changes manifest more profoundly and permanently into the consciousness of all of mankind. Your place in this revolution will solidify if you fill yourself with love. You must be able to radiate outward all that you are gaining in your spiritual consciousness. You have the power to do just that if you make that choice. As you do this on your own personal and local level, you will find yourself expanding and reaching more and more people. That is precisely what has been happening with all of the spiritual revolution changes that you see around you. You are truly the world, and your thoughts do make all the difference in this world. Have reverence for your mind. Treat your invisible inner reality with sacred, blissful appreciation. In all that I have said about creating real magic, nothing is more important than your coming into contact with the higher part of yourself. At first, you will very likely reject this notion of yourself as a miracle worker in the worldwide realm of real magic. Increasingly, however, people are believing in their own divinity and trusting in the divine wisdom that created them. They are helping to create the spiritual revolution that is now occurring. You, one person with a vision, are like a pebble in a stream, moving ever outward to infinity, impacting on all who come into contact with that ripple, which creates the spiritual world I believe in so strongly. You make all the difference in the world. Your presence here is a divine necessity, perfect and purposeful. This is your miracle-making in action. By aligning yourself with your spiritual side first rather than secondarily, you will radiate out that peace that is within. You will not be dissuaded from your mission just because others are not with you. You will stay focused on what you are for in all areas of your life. The bad news, the emphasis in the media on tragedy and pessimism will not capture your attention. You will note these as areas for improvement, but your inner divine self will be noting also how many acts of healing, kindness, and friendliness outnumber those of suffering. It truly thrills me that I have been able to create this work on real magic from within my mind. It has been a magical journey for me. I shiver inside with the awareness that it can make a difference in your life and in the entire physical world we are all immersed in. My closing quotation is from the ancient writer Philo. Households, cities, countries, and nations have enjoyed great happiness when a single individual has taken heed of the good and beautiful. Such people do not only liberate themselves, they fill those they meet with a free mind. You are that single individual, becoming a spiritual being and taking heed of the good and the beautiful. You will indeed fill yourself and those around you with a new freedom in their minds, the freedom to create real magic. God bless you.